The map is going to be Abyssal Reef. We're gonna see if my voice sort of survives this. We should have lots of great games today. And for the first one, spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map on Abyssal Reef, it is Liquid TLO, the blue Zerg player, and the red Terran player. Spawning up in the top left-hand side, also on Team Liquid, it is Euthermal. Not looking like it's actual Team Liquid for Euthermal. He's rocking that Adept clan, so fortunately for him, no Adepts in this series, so it's just a straight-up Terran versus Zerg here. And now the map is Abyssal Reef. This is one of the maps which there's not too much Terran versus Zerg. And it's actually one of the maps in which Terrans have been fine going mech on, but Euthermal not necessarily known a mech player, so it's going to be great to see how this goes. But TLO deciding that maybe he wants to make this best of 5 a little bit shorter, opening up with a spawning pool first. Now, it's not exactly a super quick spawning pool here. It's more of just a safety 15 pool, I believe that was. So TLO playing it a bit safe, whereas Euthermal, he got that gas. He's getting up his racks here. So standard gas first for Euthermal here. Just sort of getting started here as far as the game goes. Nothing crazy or anything like that. We may see some proxies or things like that further down the line. I wouldn't put it past these guys. But for now, just a standard opening. Yeah, Euthermal going to be going for that CC. Interestingly enough, he's actually skipping the Reaper here. I guess maybe he thinks he knows TLO well enough that he doesn't need the Reaper. Maybe he just wants a fast factory or something like that. But either way, he's just going for a quick reactor here, then completing his wall up. So Euthermal playing it a bit differently, maybe realizing or thinking that Reapers are not actually too effective on this map here, and that's very true. There's a cliff they can jump up, but Queens can sort of easily block that, and then getting into the front, it's not exactly easy. Now, the Lings for TLO went for this early pool, so by all means, TLO is not playing aggressive, but he's gone for this bit of an aggressive opening, and for him it would be really nice if he could get some damage done here. So TLO's keeping these links to the top. If there is a Reaper for Euthermal, it would certainly have passed now, but he's actually seeing these 2 Marines here, and this could actually be terrible for Euthermal. The Lings for TLO are coming in, but Euthermal does spot this. The Marines are pulling back. 2 more Marines are going to pop out though, so it is going to be a good fight for these Marines here. They're going to be able to pick off all these Lings. This one Ling is trying to delay the command center, but that's really all TLO is going to get here. This Ling is going to be killed off, so Euthermal keeping all the Marines there with good control, pulling back and finishing up his command center. So that was sort of a build order win for Euthermal here. It's not necessarily a build order win, just a bit of a build order advantage there. He sort of didn't go for that Reaper. If he did, might have had his command center delayed a bit longer. Things like that. Either way, I believe TLO also lost that Overlord. So yeah, not the greatest start for TLO. And Euthermal's actually going for double Cyclone here, so not afraid at all in this game here. He's just going to be going for some follow-up aggression, it looks like. As he got that early reactor, he's now making Cyclones, so I guess that's where that extra gas is going, then getting out of Starport. So it's looking to be just a bit of a Marine Cyclone poke here. It's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. As we all know, Cyclones are very great versus low-tech Zergs. And TLO doesn't even have that much army. His Overlord was picked off, so there's nothing to see this push coming. This could honestly just be a quick GG here from Euthermal. I mean, this is a scary looking push. A Cyclone's coming out, creep being denied, so that's going to buy TLO a bit of time as Queens are pulling back. He's going to be producing Lings right now. However, this is 6 Marines and a Cyclone. The 3 Queens are trying to engage right now. However, they have nothing to buffer for them right now. Trying to pick off the Marines, remove some of the DPS. TLO is pulling the drones already. Here we go. The drones are starting to fall. 6 gone down so far. The Lings are now on top of this. The drones pulling back. That is 7 dead drones here, but it does look like this attack will be cleaned up here. TLO has started his 3rd base. He's got his lair on the way. And now, look at this. Euthermal's going for Hellions and a Raven here. So, no indication of Euthermal going towards bio right now. So, it could just sort of be one of these continuous low tech pressure builds from Euthermal, but this is really pointing more towards mech, as the Terran player doesn't usually want to delay stim or his extra racks this long. But we are seeing double Evo, so he is sort of going to be transitioning. It's just going to be a bit of a more greedy transition in a sense, as he sort of went for that early pressure. Now we're seeing TLO coming in for the counter Bane Bust. He takes out 3 supply depots with 6 Banelings. I didn't catch those Banelings morphing right there, but they certainly did. 3 supply depots for 6 Banelings was certainly worth it for TLO. That's a heavy supply block for Euthermal. He's not going to be able to produce anything else right now. So very nice for TLO there. Not committing to that counter aggression. It's not like he made a ton more lings to go with that. Just trying to get some use out of the units he did produce in that defense here. So we've got these Hellions for Euthermal, so he may go for a later Hellbat push here. We'll see if an armory gets thrown down soon. He's also got 2 Ravens out right now, so it is going to be this Raven harass. Ravens are absurdly good versus workers right now. There is a Spore Crawler, though, which is going to try and shoo away this Raven. However, it's finding an angle here. It's throwing down that auto turret. And TLO is now just pulling the drone. So 3, possibly 4, maybe 5. 5 drones get picked off there by that auto turret. Very well done by Euthermal there. And if he has his way, he's just going to keep this Raven back here and just start picking off workers whenever he can. So Euthermal, this game's certainly going his way, but there's nothing necessarily too defining. He got those, he shut down that early ling pressure, he killed the few drones with that Cyclone push, and that's just putting him into a great position right now. He's getting up his 3rd base, and there's really not too much to contest it. TLO going for mutas here, however, it is only just 4 mutas on the way right now. We'll see if he starts producing many more, or whether he'll sort of focus on the ground here. He's getting his +1 Carapace, but Euthermal's heading towards 1-1 here, so the future is looking kind of bleak for TLO right now. This 1 Viking may actually get picked off by these mutas here, but I have a feeling that Euthermal may be able to save this if he sends out some of his bio here. It is looking like this Viking is actually going to go down, but there's a missile turret at every base, so Euthermal is pretty safe right now. Losing an SCV or 2. Great muta control by TLO so far. He's actually picking off 1 or 2 of these Marines, but he might have been a bit greedy there. No, he actually gets those Marines there, but simultaneously there's this Raven harass. These Ravens are just parked right now. Another one's coming in here for some harassment. Double auto turret, gonna start working away on these workers, and this is looking bleak for TLO. He's lost 9, 10 drones to this harassment. Very well done by Euthermal, just knowing when to go in. So TLO down on drones, equal bases. That is not a situation in which the Zerg player wants to be in. I'm not sure if we've seen an armory. An armory is done. There's 2-2 on the way for Euthermal. So these Hellions are likely going to transform into Hellbats. We're going to see this bio move out, and I'm not sure TLO is going to have enough to hold this off. He's down on supply. He's only got 3 Banelings versus 21 Marines. He's morphing more. He's getting Baneling speed, or he's actually got it already, so he's got the tech to defend. I'm not sure if he has the bulk, though. Mutas is always looking for an angle right now. Actually getting this Raven, but this auto trick is going to pick off 1 or 2 of them. He's currently just lost 1 muta, so shutting that down is very nice for TLO. Sort of keeping this bio busy as well. Euthermal has not managed to go for that push yet, but the creep for TLO was never restarted at the front here, so this would be a great angle for Euthermal to push. However, we may see him just push at the sort of 4th here. Scanning, cleaning up that creep. Still gonna have to knock off those rocks though if he wants to open the path, and it looks like TLO is actually coming in for an interception on this bio, forcing a liftoff here. The mutas though, that was a great reaction by Euthermal, sort of just lifting up, but more Banelings rolling in here, gonna shut that down, so that's actually very nice for TLO. Taking out a portion of Euthermal's army really for nothing. He maybe lost 1 or 2 Banelings there. It was certainly worth it, but now this is what it's really going to come down to. Can TLO make this final hold? They're going to be on possibly even upgrades, or Euthermal will hit 2-2. It's looking like it may finish up right as this attack comes. It's going to be a great upgrade advantage for Euthermal when this attack does begin. He's pushing into this area, which is very little creep, and even this evolution chamber is going to be vulnerable right now, so it may not survive. Euthermal scanning, he's looking to push up this ramp. It's tough to push up the ramp here. Banelings actually roll down, get some decent connections there for TLO, but as I said, this evolution chamber is going to be picked off. TLO wanting that wall up with the Evo Chamber is now paying for it later in the game here. Another Evo Chamber did finish up, but he is going to be down on upgrades for quite a while right now. These Banelings trying to roll in and deal with this. However, this Hellbat's just sort of tanking so well right now. More Banelings morphing, some of them crashing in. Euthermal's just abusing this position, and this is always a bad position for a Zerg player right now. Sort of just being sort of choked out here. These Mutas, though, they're trying to pick off these Hellbats if you can. That's a great pick off. These Banelings rolling in, baiting out a Widowmine shot, picking off a Marine there. TLO is sort of just trying to hang on right now, and he may be able to. However, these Widowmines on the low ground are always threatening right now. A great Muta count for TLO, though. He's built up to 20 Mutas. This is what a Zerg player wants. It gives him so much power, and he's actually picking off these Widowmines here. Getting one, getting two. That's very nice for TLO right now, and this push for Euthermal is suddenly looking a lot less scary. However, there's a counter push to the north, even an SCV going along with it, heading towards that third base. The creep, though, should spot it, so TLO's going to want to clean up this first push if he can, and then he'll have to focus on the second push right now. He's still down on supply. However, these attacks for Euthermal are split up, so he may be able to get to shut these down. The Widowmines are all at least being cleared up right now. And neither of these pushes really found ground for Euthermal right now. Yes, he's busy on both sides. TLO's having to multitask as well as he can right now. But TLO has taken no damage. He's up to 4 bases right now. He's saturated. He's going to have +2 melee weapons soon, but the upgrades are still looking bleak for TLO, though. As a Zerg player, never does want to be down on upgrades to this extent. It's going to be 3-3 versus 2-1. As TLO never got that Carapace to finish up before that Evo was taken out. We see another push for Euthermal. He's pushing in. He's just charging in right now, heading towards the natural. TLO's invested a large amount into Mutas, only has 11 Banelings. However, these Mutas are actually just straight up engaging on top of the Marines here. Euthermal was spread out, and yes, that's great for a Terran player. However, he sort of paid the price there, losing part of his bow. A few Banelings rolling in, but great splits by Euthermal right now, and he's sort of just taken over the natural, and all these Mutas flying over a Widowmine, they're all just going to be shredded right now by these Marines. TLO's going to run out of supply there. TLO investing into that great Mutalist count, however, it just fell apart. Sometimes we see that it's a choice for Zerg players. I mean, do you want the Mutas or do you want the Banelings to survive? Either way, making that choice is never too great. So we're going to be getting on into the second match. The second map is going to be Proxima Station there. So Euthermal going up 1-0 in this series. Euthermal's sort of the favorite versus TLO, you'd think, but that was certainly a great play there by TLO, just trying to hang on. Unfortunately, he did fall there. So hope you guys are enjoying the stream here. We've certainly got great players here. We're going to be getting into the second game. There's going to be a lot of Starcraft today. That's what I love about these. A best of 5 provides just so many great games between these guys. And then we're going to have a best of 7 finals between the winner. Gonna be, both players are ready. Yeah, wanting to get right on into the second game, and so we shall. Not much downtime here. We are going to be heading on into game number 2 of this best of 5 between TLO. Euthermal is currently up 1 map. We're going to see if he'll be able to increase this advantage here, as TLO actually had that first map pick. That was TLO's map, so never a great situation there, but honestly, it's StarCraft 2. Map picks are not the end of the world for players here. So without further ado, spawning down in the bottom left, already up 1-0, it is Euthermal here. And spawning up in the top right-hand side, the red Zerg, it is TLO. Both of these guys on Team Liquid, great players. They've sort of been around. TLO has been around sort of a bit longer, if you look at it in that sense. If you excuse me, I'm just sort of pressing buttons randomly here, trying to set up the score overlay. There we are, Euthermal up 1-0. We're going to see This is sort of the point in which one of the players may try something cheeky. TLO could possibly do something cheeky to try and get an advantage here. However, he did open up with that pool first, and that never really worked out. Never really got what he wanted there. He just sort of just played right into the Euthermal. Now, Euthermal, he's looking to go for this standard gas barracks here. TLO, interestingly enough, he's opening for the hatchery at the front. This is something Zerg players sort of have been trending towards. You always think hatchery at the back, it's safer, farther away. However, sometimes Zerg players just want to have that pressure. It helps them spread creep, having the base at the front, which is very important, as it's pretty much just a straight line for creep spread for Zerg players, and that just buys them a large buffer if they can get to that stage. Reaper coming out of this barracks for Euthermal. Reaper's not too great on this map. We'll see this hatchery finish up. There'll be a queen there, then the Reaper won't get too much more done. Most likely, at least. And then no gas for TLO right now, so he's sort of playing it a bit greedy here, actually going for a third hatchery right away. Okay, so this is how TLO is trying to get an advantage here. Euthermal went for a push early on in the game, but TLO is going to try and cement himself with an early macro lead. So we're going to see if Euthermal will be able to punish us at all. I mean, if you were around in Wings of Liberty or Heart of the Swarm, Zerg players 3 hatch was sort of the norm. And we're going to see if he'll be able to get away with this gasless 3 hatchery. So there's going to be no speed to chase down the Reaper. However, a queen and the Lings in position will sort of be able to shoo it away. And definitely Euthermal coming in here trying to... And look at this, the drone's even coming off the line. One of these drones may go down. Great extractor from TLO. Not something you'd usually expect to be said, but yeah, TLO keeping that drone alive, turning it into an extractor. And now the queen is out. Gonna start a creep tumor right away, so TLO does want this creep out. And the queen's sort of moving out to try and deny the Reaper picking off the tumor. And there we are, the creep tumor does go down here. But the Reaper's actually diving on towards the main. This is something TLO certainly didn't want to happen here. The Reaper's going to confirm that there's a third base, and this is not something that TLO wanted scouted. He wanted Euthermal to be wondering, is it going to be 2 bases? Could it be mutas? Maybe force him to burn a scan, but right now TLO got in with that Reaper. Free confirmation right there. Very well done by Euthermal. And now we're seeing sort of a quicker stim for Euthermal. Just opting what's looking to be just a standard old 2-1-1. It's sort of been ages since we've seen this build right now. However, TLO, he opted for this gasless play, so it's not. He's going to be in a good economic spot here. Sort of. I'm still warming up my casting, guys. You'll have to forgive me before I get into the flow of it. So I'm actually not too sure of how a 2-1-1 plays out against a gasless 3 hatch. TLO is certainly going to be not aware of this. If we look at the vision, he's just sort of scouted the reactor. So the meta lately sort of has been Terran players go towards they poke a bit, then they go towards their own third command center, and then sort of macro like last game like Euthermal did. However, it's going to be this old build, and old builds still work if the opponent's caught off guard. TLO is currently just sitting at 4 Zerglings here. The 2 Medivacs are going to be coming out. TLO could be a bit too greedy here. He's going to need at least, I believe the magic number was at least 32 Zerglings to deal with a push like this, or some Roaches, but Roaches not on the cards. TLO now producing Lings, so this is what he needs. He's going to be getting much quicker Evo chambers this game, so TLO wanting to sort of go the tech route here, get up a strong economy, and go toe-to-toe with Euthermal. But Euthermal with these 2 Medivacs is looking for some damage right now. Now, the creep is one thing that TLO is really going to have to rely on for this defense. Euthermal's pushing in right now, just going to be moving and taking out some of this creep. He's not really going to get any drones from the looks with this push, as TLO is producing a large amount of Lings. He's got that 30, that magic number, and Euthermal is on creep, so these Lings are going to close the gap very quickly. Euthermal trying to fight here, but TLO is actually forced back. A lot of that bio gets weakened, however, not a single Marine goes down there. And Euthermal seems to just be content sort of denying the 4th base right now, unloading these Marines, gonna heal them up with these Medivacs. Now, no 3rd command center. Well, it's actually just gone down for Euthermal right now, so he didn't really get much damage done. TLO's on a solid 3 bases right now. He's droning up heavily. losing an Overlord here and there, but nothing too serious right now. Creep has been denied, which is always not the greatest for the Zerg player. However, it's better than losing drones. Euthermal's actually moving in, securing this position. This is what Euthermal wanted right now. These Lings just being shredded. A few Banelings are finishing morphing, and now these Lings are going to try once again to get this around. A few of them do, and this push is going to be forced back. However, that was a great trade by Euthermal. We've seen 37 Lings go down for 3 Marines and a Reaper. That is great for Euthermal, but is it enough is actually the question right now, as TLO got away with that sort of greed. He's getting on his 1-1 already, so these players are going to be on even upgrades as opposed to an upgrade advantage for Euthermal like last time, and that was very critical, that upgrade advantage. And we should be able to see 2-2 on the way for TLO soon. Euthermal is going to have his own 2-2, so these players are really going to be on even upgrades. No third base for Euthermal landed just yet. He's floating it over right away. Gonna want, not even an orbital yet, just wanting to sort of be able to start mining there right away. We see these Lings trying to close the gap right now. However, combat shield's done for Euthermal, so this sort of drop is turning into more of a bit of a poke. The Baneling's trying to connect with this. Euthermal's gonna need great focus fire, and he does. He focus fires down all these Banelings here. However, there's just so many Zerglings for TLO getting on top of this army, and Euthermal loses a large portion of those Marines here. TLO is looking for a runway on the 3rd as well. There's nothing landed. There's not even an orbital started for Euthermal. That's sort of a bit late there, as you usually want that to be able to deal with sort of creep and whatnot. TLO moving Lings to the back. Euthermal is finding not much damage this game. TLO has sort of been forced not to drone too much, but Euthermal, well, he's up on workers technically right now. He's not even secured his 3rd base fully. He's got these Liberators, but he's not mining there yet. He's just transferring a large amount of SCVs. Yeah, that was a very late 3rd for Euthermal, so he lost out on mining there. TLO's getting up a 4th. It's at the gold base as well, so this is what he wanted. Euthermal's cleaning up some of the creep, which is very nice to allow a later push on top of this. So right now we're seeing TLO just sort of defend with these Lings. The Spire's going up now. He's just relying on these heavy upgrades to deal with this, and it's certainly working out right now. Another scan goes down for Euthermal, just trying to get every single last creep tumor. However, this outlying creep tumor staying alive is very nice for TLO. And this is just constant dropping for Euthermal, trying to find some damage, but TLO has been solid on his defense. Euthermal may be able to drop here right into these Lings, but no, this bio was weak. It's going to be picked off. There is absolutely nothing getting done for Euthermal right now. TLO, while he was playing good in the last game, he sort of just was at a bit of an offset at the start, but right now he's certainly trying his hardest to come back in this game. Euthermal opting for another drop, but this isn't something that you see too often versus Zerg players anymore. I mean, Zergs have gotten really good at defending drops, so we're going to see if this can get anything done for Euthermal right now. These Medivacs sort of still bouncing around. Now this is something that may get work done. Double Liberator here. However, there's a Spore Crawler. There's the 2 Queens. There's actually 3 Queens for TLO to deal with this. Actually sieging up the gold base is Euthermal just deciding, alright, I'll just deny this. Actually going to shoot away at these eggs here. This one Queen's sort of sacrificing itself, so there's some Corruptors coming up for TLO. And this is something that could be a bit of a nightmare for Euthermal right now, as Corruptors recently got their buff. They're much quicker now, shutting down drops even harder than they did before. So Euthermal, with this dropping style, is going to be very pressed to get damage done shortly. Both players on 2-2, no 3-3 on the way for Euthermal, so both players just sitting on equal upgrades. Now Euthermal has done a good job shutting down this base, but now TLO is going to be able to start mining from that gold. That's going to give him a clear income advantage when that's sort of saturated, but Euthermal's deciding, alright, it's time to push. The Terran player really needs to get some damage done right now. TLO doesn't actually have that much of a ground force right now. He's got a large Ling count, and that's sort of collapsing on top of this army, but he is forced to pull back. Only 4 Banelings. I'd love to see more Banelings, more for TLO right now. And I believe he is going to want to continue this creep spread yet again, but right now this is just a large amount of Lings for TLO. He may be actually looking for an engagement right now. There is Widow Mines, but these Lings are sort of streaming forward, baiting out the shots here, so TLO is actually taking a great engagement. Friendly fire on these Widow Mines. This is just TLO straight up. Now the army supply looks close, however a large amount of Euthermal supply is in these Medivacs here. He's actually got 8 Medivacs, whereas not too much bio to go with it. These mines are sort of being a solid defense for Thermal. But in the end, TLO's sort of got what he wanted. He's happily on 4 bases right now. That sort of, he pushed out, that maybe wasn't the best trade in the world, but it's certainly bottom time right now. We're seeing Thermal push in once again, but his army supply, while he's ahead on supply, a large amount of it's in Medivacs right now. 3-3 is on the way, but Thermal, TLO, he's getting up to a hive. Even a Roach Warren going down, that's a bit random there. But we're seeing Infestors on the way burrowed, so TLO really wanting to go the full 9 yards in this game here. Widowmine getting cleaned up. The Corruptor's still sharking around, so it's very tough for Thermal to get damage done right now. Drop's moving out. Not sure if TLO saw this, I believe he did. I mean, hatcheries don't have much vision there, but that hatchery did indeed see that drop there. So this drop is going to get cleaned up. The Medivac may survive here. And now it looks like Thermal's forced to go the macro route. Not sure what this Queen's doing out here, but Thermal getting up towards this 4th base right now, so he's just having to macro against TLO. And this is something that Zerg players are very comfortable with. Once you're on a hive, you're much more comfortable holding off bio pushes as a Zerg. Roach is on the way for TLO, so this is really interesting. Maybe he's opting just for these Roaches to sort of allow him to trade on the front better, but Roach transition when you've got the melee upgrades is very bizarre for TLO. Maybe he wants this Roach Ravager sort of Infestors. Infestors certainly do go very well with that unit, but these Lings, TLO pushing in here, maybe getting a bit greedy, and now it may be hard for him to hold this 4th base. TLO invested into these Roaches as opposed to just making a large count of Banelings, so taking this this engagement may be very tough, and it certainly could be a final engagement. Okay, here we go, TLO creativity, Baneling landmines, but I'm not sure if Thermal's gonna be, oh yeah, that was sort of cut short there. All those Banelings picked off right now. Banelings rolling into the Marauder there. And now we see TLO's going for an engagement, just coming in from the front though, no surround. Lings going forward, baiting out all those Widowmine's friendly fire there. However, TLO bleeding off a bit of his sort of Ling buffer there, and we see him even burrowing more Banelings during all that. Now pulling back right now, those are some very clump burrowed Banes, but this is what TLO wanted, the Ravagers there. Speaking of Ravagers, look at that skin, that is amazing. So just wanting to be able to corrosive vile Widowmines to be able to sort of trade on the front like he's doing right now, as opposed to being forced to take one big engagement, but he may have to right now. Banelings rolling forward, Widowmines going off right now. We see a great fungal and corrosive bile there, however this is a large amount of bile for Thermal right now. TLO is forced back, he's dropping in supply, he's trying to hold on. These Corruptors are not getting too much done right now, and TLO is down on supply. Thermal may have just broken TLO here, he's on 3-3. This is his moment, Banelings rolling forward, connecting only with Marauders there. TLO trying to hang on, but he simply doesn't have enough buffer. It looks like Thermal one hell of a bank, and TLO, he was down on supply before, but now things are looking really rough for him. Thermal is pushing in right now, just picking off this. And Thermal taking a 2-0 lead. He did manage to win his own map there. He's took out TLO on his own map, so things are looking a bit rough for TLO right now. He's going to have to get that reverse sweep. And the map he's going to have to do it on is going to be Newkirk Precinct here. That was, these games have certainly been delivering though. I mean, Thermal's taken sort of a 2-0 lead here, a bit of a great advantage for him. But certainly they haven't been quick games by all means. I mean, they've been going the full way. So I hope you guys are enjoying the stream today. I mean, thanks to Afreeca for sponsoring it. These best of 5s are great. So we're going to be getting into the 3rd game. We'll see if TLO is able to bring it back there. These two teammates have been going at it, and they're looking to be ready right into the next game. Alright, here we are. That's the sound of us hopping right into the next game here. The map is going to be Newkirk Precinct, and this could certainly be another map which is going to give us a sort of great, it could either be a great finale, or it could be the map in which TLO brings it back. Newkirk Precinct has certainly shown us games which go all the way here. My throat's already starting to die, but we're going to power through it. It is Euthermal spawning down the bottom left-hand side of the map. And the blue Zerg spawning down the bottom right. You know him, it's TLO. Both of these guys playing very solid here. Euthermal, however, just managing to edge it out. I mean, another minute and TLO would have sort of been unbreakable there. Euthermal just found an angle. His drop's not too effective at the start, but then he managed to make that push work. Either way, not too much to talk about at the start of this game. Looks just to be a standard hatchery first for TLO. I don't believe we'll see something crazy like that gasless third hatch. Again, there goes the gas for TLO already, so we know the answer to that. As Newkirk Precinct is certainly tougher to go for that gas third hatchery. Gasless third hatchery. So, pretty standard builds out of these guys. I mean, I could just say Terran versus Zerg, Newkirk Precinct, and everyone wouldn't sort of know what the players are going to do at the start. But, yeah, nothing crazy coming out of these guys. I mean, Euthermal sort of would have been the guy to do something crazy, but he didn't. Just gonna, I mean, playing very solid and macroing has been working out for him. Going for a Reaper once again, so not that reactor first, interestingly enough. And then looking like he's just going to throw down a factory here, so likely going to go into Reaper Hellion. I assume it could be something else, it could be Cyclones again. But TLO just getting up his hatchery, starting his queen. Pretty much everything standard here. And that Reaper is spotted by that Overlord, so TLO's Overlord's moving in here. He'll probably see the reactor and know his Overlord's safe, not wanting to lose an early Overlord like in the first game. And now TLO's just droning here. Did he actually make any lings? Okay, he's made 2 lings, so we're going to see if this Reaper can get anything done here. The drone's going to be used here to try and push this Reaper back. However, this is only 2 lings here. One of them goes down, the other is going to be picked off right away. So now it's going to be up to these drones and queens, or this queen, to hang on here. That one drone was forced into... and it gets picked off. 2 drones there for Euthermal. Okay, TLO paying the price. An extra 2 lings, certainly cheaper than 2 drones for him, so this is already a great start for Euthermal here. Managing to pick off 2 drones at the start, that is not something a Zerg player wants. TLO tried to sort of get an advantage there just by playing greedy, but he paid the price, and there's not really too much to say about that. His speed is going to finish up, so he may be able to catch this Reaper, but already 2 drones for Euthermal is great for him. He's getting up his natural base. He's going to be dropping those mules. Hellion follow-up, it looks like. Then he's getting up the starport here, so we'll see if it's going to be something like a Banshee, or it could just be maybe a Hellion drop. Actually a Viking. Okay, so he's going to want to clean up Overlords. And now making a Viking in Terran versus Zerg is pretty much 2 guaranteed Overlord kills. It shuts down the vision for the Zerg player, and now we've got this Reaper, these Hellions sort of grouped up. They're going to start poking away at this third base. Certainly not going to kill the third base, as it is just 2 Hellions and a Reaper right now. These lings may be able to try and get on top of this, but it looks like these lings for TLO may try and go for a counterattack, but no. TLO just maybe feeling a bit uncomfortable here, as he is down 0-2. Speaking of 0-2, whoops, that's not what we want. This is what we want. Nope. Alright, there we are. Sort of a bit late there of me on that, as it is still the first series of the day, so we're just warming up for everything. Now we see the Baneling Nest on the way for TLO, so he's sort of playing it safe in that sense, just in case there is any scary push for Euthermal coming out. But it looks like it's just going to be that same build as before. Not actually the same. Euthermal went for a Cyclone push in that first game, but he's going for that Stim, the Ravens, the third command center. So sort of the same follow-up in a sense. Another Overlord may go down. This Viking has already picked off 2. TLO not got a transfuse to save this. Going to be able to hurt that Overlord. Oh, and he actually saved it. Look at that. One more shot and that Viking would have gotten that Overlord, but the Viking pulls back, staying alive. TLO is building up a good number of queens from the looks of things, so he's going to be spreading creep, and Newkirk Precinct is a large map, so if you can get great creep spread out as the Zerg player, it puts you in a very favorable position here. Double Evo for TLO, no upgrades started just yet though. He's sort of more focused on getting up this defense. Spore Crawler's on the way, as he's not aware of what Euthermal got. His Overlords were picked off, so none of them really were able to poke in. Or actually, I guess one did poke in there. But he never really saw... He saw the 2 racks there. So, but he didn't see the 3rd CC. He's not confirmed the 3rd CC. Here we see Euthermal landing that 3rd command center now. Just, oh, those Banelings almost connecting with those Hellions there. Not something the Zerg player really wants to do, bleed off Banelings to Hellions right now. So that's actually a great pickoff for Euthermal. Here we see this Raven coming in, just starting to pick off drones here. Just Euthermal right-clicking on them, getting 2 there for his efforts. Meanwhile, he's happily macroing up. So TLO, he's just slightly ahead on workers, which is, and the Zerg player usually wants to be maybe 10 workers ahead on this situation. Both players are more or less going to be equal on upgrades, but there may be a window for Euthermal to exploit, and he's actually going for tanks this time. This is interesting. Euthermal not opting for Widowmans, maybe just looking to choke TLO out when he goes for a 4th base. TLO certainly has a large ling count right now, 50 lings. So he should be able to defend what Euthermal throws at him for now, but we're gonna see how it sort of develops when Euthermal gets up all this tech, when he starts to build up the large bio count, when he gets out the tanks, transforms his Hellions, things like that. But for now we actually see TLO maybe looking to go for a bit of a push here. There is a tank. This one ling sort of seeing that. But maybe TLO just seeing how few units there were, sniffing out that there's a drop on the way. Now we actually see this Raven trying to pick off a queen there, but actually no drone losses, so very nice for TLO there as far as that goes. But Euthermal, he's still at a supply advantage. He's up 10 in supply, and it may be very tough for TLO to pull this back right now. He's getting up a 4th base, but this might just be where Euthermal starts pushing and doesn't stop this entire game. We see this as a large link count, going to be able to get on top of these units and force them back. Killing off a few of the Marines there. But that's sort of just the tip of the iceberg, is Euthermal's looking to move out with another drop here. He's sort of opting for the same sort of drop play. Not a definitive push just yet, but it looks like he's going to join up these medivacs, so he's going to have a large bio push. Fortunately, TLO expanded down south, so there's no vulnerable 4th base up top, and we actually see these links may get on top of this bio, not allowing it to drop out. Very nice for TLO. This Raven auto turret picking off 2 drones yet again, being a nuisance, and now we see all this bio has unloaded here. Euthermal exploiting this position, not going to let TLO collapse on top of him this time. Gonna move up north, cancel some creep here, so the 3rd base is gonna be vulnerable once again, as it doesn't have this creep buffer anymore. And now we see TLO trying to get on top of this bio, but bleeding off a large amount of lings there. How many was that went down? We've seen 40 lings go down so far, some to auto turrets, but a large amount went down there. However, this bio is overstimmed, and now we are seeing it get on top of this army. Mutas are out, so Euthermal is just going to stick with kiting for days. However, a wraparound of lings. Euthermal doing a great job kiting, but in the end he is going to bleed off a large amount of these units, dropping this bio, just sort of going back and forth. But it looks like he may actually lose these medivacs to the mutas. Just 4 mutas here. They got a lot of work cut out for them. However, this is a very nice pickoff if he can sort of reduce this medivac count for Euthermal. It really takes the wind out of the sails of the push. Over TLO sort of moving in, not wanting to take this engagement, but he sort of has to, as he overcommitted there. And now we see TLO's bled off a large amount of his supply. Euthermal almost doubling TLO's supply. Well, not quite, but he's certainly got an advantage right now. We see more Banelings morphing, but this fourth base is vulnerable right now. It may just go down to this push. These are Hellbats. This is mines as well. The Queens for TLO coming out to help, and I'm not sure that's going to be enough. We're seeing TLO go for a wraparound. There's so many Widow Mines here, but TLO doing a great job baiting them out. The Banelings rolling forward, but Euthermal's so well split, they're not really sure what to connect with. There is, however, a large number of mutas here, so TLO may be able to hang on right now. He's kept his drones alive. As long as he keeps the hatchery alive, these Queens will be able to transfuse it if need be. Well, another Widow Mine moves forward, but this is so much bio here. TLO flying his mutas right over the Marines here. They're just kiting for days. TLO transfusing, but all these mutas are starting to go down, and GG gets called. Euthermal takes the 3-0 versus TLO. We already have our first finalist here, but stay tuned as we're going to be going into the second best of 5 today. It is going to be another great matchup. It is going to be a TVP Mana versus Soul. So, maybe this is going to be a trend with the Afreeca tournaments, the first match being a 3-0. Either way, well played by Euthermal. TLO tried to hang on there, but Euthermal always just managed to edge him out there. I hope you guys are enjoying the stream here. Alright, so the players are getting right into the vetoes here. It is Soul vetoing the first map. Mana gonna be vetoing the second map here. Shouldn't be too much downtime here, but I hope you guys are enjoying the stream. Euthermal taking the 3-0. Alright, so the maps vetoed are Cactus Valley and Honor Grounds here. Now, we saw Mana fall out in the last Afreeca World. He fell down to Beastie Cutie, not Euthermal, in TVP, so we're gonna see if he'll be able to take out Soul here and bring it back. Alright, so Abyssal Reef is going to be the first map. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream right now. We're going to have a lot more great Starcraft coming up. So Euthermal has moved on to the finals. We're going to see if we're going to have another TVT finals or if we're going to have a TVP here. Either way, we're going to see if Soul's going to be able to make it through sort of the gauntlet of Liquid players. As if you didn't notice, we've had 3 Liquid players in this tournament. The second map is going to be Belshir Vestige. Newkirk is the third. Fourth map is going to be Proxima Station. And we're just waiting on the 5th. Soul's rearing to go here. Okay, so both players are ready here. And we're going to be hopping on into the game. It is going to be another best of 5. It's going to be a Terran versus Protoss. The first map being Abyssal Reef. I believe that was the... No, that was... Yeah, I believe that was the first map in our last series, too. So, Abyssal Reef being the choice for these players. Now, spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map, another Liquid player, the yellow Protoss. It is Mana. Now, spotting down the bottom right-hand side, playing for True Esports. It is Soul. Or Tess Esports, I guess. So, it's a completely different matchup here, completely different players. Mana versus Soul rematch is actually not the case. It was Mana versus BCQT in the last series here. But, either way, Soul hasn't played a TVP in the Afreeca World Tournament. Mana has, so we're going to see if Mana's managed to sort of make changes to his gameplay to maybe figure the matchup out a bit more. That can sort of be... Sometimes players struggle with matchups, and I believe Mana has been a bit vocal in the past with having trouble with Terran versus Protoss. Okay, you're going to have to forgive me there. I almost forgot the overlay there. Just right at the end. Fortunately, not too much was missed there. Well, that would have been embarrassing if I had left it on my face for the entire stream there. Fortunately, I checked. So, not missed too much, did you? But we actually have 2 gases coming out for Soul, so it's going to be some aggression here, to say the least. Double gas for Soul, so he's likely going to be moving towards a quick factory. Mana also opting for a quick double gas here, so both of these players heading towards tech. Well, not really heading, more as sprinting towards tech. And look at this. Okay, so Soul's decided what he's going to do. Both of these players starting off this best of 5 with sort of some quick tech, but Soul's tech is on the other side of the map here. Mana going for an expansion here. However, it is a late expand. Going for the Cybercore first is certainly going to give him sort of what he needs to hold off this push, which I can only assume is going to be Cyclones from the location it's proxied. Sort of a quick walk or roll, whatever Cyclones do, towards the natural base of Mana here. Mana's going for a quick Stargate. He's going for an Adept, but he hasn't probe scouted, so this is what's going to put Mana in a tough situation right now. And now we're seeing a Stargate come up, so it may not be Cyclones. It could be Mines here. No, it is a Cyclone first for Soul right now, so it's going to be early aggression coming out of Soul without a doubt. Now, we have the Stargate coming up for Mana, so we'll see. Is it going to be an Oracle into Phoenix? Oracles are not terrible versus Cyclones. Cyclones are used to defend Oracles in the main base of Terran players, but in a 1 versus 1 fight, an Oracle does beat a Cyclone here, and there is not going to be a large amount of SCVs to repair this Cyclone since it is out on the map right now. So if Mana sort of identifies that this is coming, it will be very nice for him. We're going to see the first Cyclone move out. The Oracle is coming out for Manas, but this will be very critical to helping him. Oh, I believe the Adept might have moved out there. Okay, so this Reaper Grenade actually helps pick off this Adept right now, so this Adept may go down. It hangs on there, but Soul's getting right to it, trying to pick off this natural base here. We see the Oracle, though, coming in. This is going to be huge for the defense. These probes trying to pick off the Reaper right now. The Oracle is getting on top of the Cyclone. The bunker trying to get up for Soul, I guess mainly for this one Reaper here, but more Marines are coming across the map right now. And now we see this Oracle is actually locked on by these Cyclones. Hard to retreat from a Cyclone lock-on, and the Oracle goes down. Not too often you see Cyclones actually kill anything with their AA. However, that Oracle did go down. We see this early aggression from Soul starting off the series, looking to try and take a quick lead or simply win the game outright. We have a Void Ray on the way for Mana, but it looks like he is going to lose his natural base. These Adepts are poking in, possibly going to try and pick off a Marine or two, but Soul's got this Medivac. It's going to allow him to micro these units very well. This Void Ray is going to come out, but this Nexus is getting weaker. Mana's trying to save it, buy time here. Soul picking up that weakened Cyclone, trying to save that DPS right now. We have the one Void Ray coming out, but I'm not sure if it's going to be enough. There's simply one Adept, one Void Ray versus all these Marines. The Void Ray does get a lock onto the Cyclone, and Soul is actually forced back. He couldn't hold his ground there versus the Adept, Stalker, and Void Ray, but he's sort of brought over SCVs now. He's repairing these Cyclones, and Marines are very good versus Void Ray, so he may be able to be able to push in. Look at that, Mana saved the Nexus with 98 health, so it's very good that he got Soul to pull back right there, but there's no mothership for Mana, or actually there is, it's just popped out, but it needs to get over here right away here. The Void Ray being locked on by these 3 Cyclones, you're forced back, and Overcharge does go down, which is going to be very critical for this defense, but right now Mana's just on 3 Stalkers. He's warping in another Zealot, he's got another Void Ray here, but this is a large amount of Cyclones being able to lock on, but for now it seems that Mana's doing a great job holding this push. Soul's macroing back at home. He's getting up a command center, but he's still committing to this push. Right now, though, it seems Mana may have held. With this Mothership Core, with these 2 Void Rays, it's really tough for Soul to push up this ramp right now. The 2 Void Rays are going to need to engage here. Soul abusing this Medivac mobility here, pushing back and forth, but here we see Mana's taking some damage, not necessarily from the direct push. That Liberator getting 8 probes there. And we actually see one of the Void Rays fall right now. Double Sentry warped in for Mana, but they may be vulnerable right now, trying to force field, but it's a bit too late. The Photon Overcharge, trying to pick off these Cyclones, however. Great micro from Soul, keeping these units alive. One of the Cyclones does get picked off, but so does the Nexus for Mana. Soul has his own 3rd command center on the way here. So Mana may have to go for some counter aggression right now. And now since Soul's tech is out on the map, Mana may actually be able to get some aggression done. We're seeing a bunker come up for Soul, but it may be too late right now. So this is more or less becoming a bit of a timer over Mana's head, as he's got to hang on here. We see 3 Stalkers, 2 Void Rays coming in, but with this SCV pull and repair, I believe that Soul is going to be able to hold this push right now. Actually, no, these Void Rays picking off those Cyclones, the Stalkers working away on top of these SCVs, but the bunker does get up, and in the end, that is what Soul needed. He's going to be able to pull SCVs to repair this always. There's no Warp Prism blink or anything like that, so this one Void Ray is going to poke in, try to get something done, but 2 Marines do pop out here. So this Void Ray may sort of be threatened right now. There is also a Viking out. We see Mana trying to get something done, trying to pick off this Widowmine actually. There is only 2 Marines in the bunker, so the units can sort of stand there. Keeping this Void Ray alive is Mana, but he's just restarted his Nexus. There's a 3rd base on the way for Soul, but he actually canceled the 3rd. I guess he needed money to hang on, so this is going to put him in a better position. But Mana almost holding that first attack, but it really fell apart at the end there. These production buildings are found, they're forced to lift off, the building units are cancelled. 6 Stalkers out for Mana, so this is sort of a force in which he's going to want to be able to push with, but I don't think he's going to be able to really find any damage done. Soul, though, actually has sort of just been, once again, investing heavily into that tech. And now we see this Oracle is going to come in, it's going to start picking off workers, and this is exactly what Mana needed. Something to sort of equalize the game right now. Picking off 4 SCVs there, the Viking is shooting this Oracle, but I believe it will escape here. And now we see it seems that Mana may try and push in right now. There is just the 1 bunker, but with an SCV repair, that bunker is a great tool for defense. And now we see Mana is teching. He's going towards his own 3rd base. Soul's got his own 3rd up, but it will be longer before he lands that. And now we're seeing a Twilight Council on the way for Mana, so most likely for Blink, or maybe for Resonating Glaives. We're really going to have to wait and see. It's player preference, but to deal with Liberators, Blink is preferred. But it'll sort of say, if Mana's going to go for aggression, it'll likely be Resonating Glaives. If he's just going to play defensive, it will most likely be Blink. Or maybe it could be for a Dark Shrine, something like that. Either way, 2 SCVs go down by that Oracle, sort of getting its value worth here. 7 worker kills, that's very important here for Mana. The situation would be much worse. Both players on equal workers right now, which isn't great for the Protoss player, but it's certainly better than Soul having those extra 7 SCVs. So right now we see Mana's sort of just building up his army, staying at home. He did start Resonating Glaives, so wanting to stick with these Adepts. He's got +1 being chrono boosted out here, but the players are going to be equal on upgrades, which sort of tends to benefit the Terran player more. Having that extra damage output from the bio sort of scales better for the Terran player. We see, though, Soul, he's just sort of getting up his tech now. I mean, he's getting up more medivacs, but this is very late, as he did build his sort of first production across the map there, so he has had to rebuild that factory, rebuild that starport. And he is just getting up all his barracks now. But for Mana, this could be a very tough situation, as Soul is going to start building up that very scary bio ball, whereas Mana is just going to be on this gateway sort of adept stalker ragtag team with a couple of Phoenix and whatnot. There is 3 Phoenix on the way though, so this will be very critical for defending drops if Soul decides to go that route, but there's always the possibility in which Soul just goes for a direct push at the front. And Soul is moving out here. So we see 4 gates on the way for Mana right now. This is gonna give him sort of the muscle he needs to warp to get the army he needs to be able to defend this push right now. He's got up a robotics facility, so he is gonna eventually be able to start making things like immortals if he chooses. But for now, it isn't the best situation for Mana because he doesn't have much tech. Soul's already teched out. So it's going to be up to Mana to hold with adepts, with stalkers, but that's not something that a Protoss player really ever wants. Now, this 1-drop was cleaned up by these Phoenix here for Mana. This is a bit of a surprise for Soul right now. And now we're actually seeing Mana's moving out. He's equal on supply with Soul right now. There is 2 Widow Mines for Soul, though, so they will be able to grow. But Mana actually lifts these up, so he's going to be able to engage this army. He trades a Phoenix, but for 2 mines, that was certainly worth it. A Guardian Shield pops, and Mana's moving out. He's just trying to abuse Soul right now. Get anything he can, and that was very nice for Mana. Making Soul worried, making him pull back. Meanwhile, he's getting up towards his robotics bay. He's getting out observers and things like that. And as long as Soul's on his side of the map, Mana is going to be happy, as his tech is later, but he's catching up right now. 2 Liberators are out, so it's going to be up for Mana to defend these, but he does have these Phoenix, which are very critical for defending this. They're able to help with the Widow Mines, so I believe it's a decent Phoenix count. Yeah, 5. Now we're seeing Immortals, Adepts. Mana still ahead on the army supply, actually just falling behind there, but with his defender's advantage, he should be in a fine position to hold this push right now. Both players equal on upgrades. Soul just starting as +2, but as Soul invests in his upgrades, Mana's investing in his tech. He's getting out Colossus. He's on double robotics facility right now, so he's soon enough going to be able to have out 2 Colossus when these pop. Extended thermal lance on the way. So this is suddenly going to make his army very scary and much more viable. We see a few of these Phoenix being shaved off right now, but Mana's going to be able to hold this top position. Now, Liberators will be a challenge. This Oracle uses a Revelation but gets sniped off. Nice for Soul to pick that off so he doesn't have to worry about it anymore, but Mana may just be able to engage this as he is up on army supply. He's got these Phoenix, so he'll be able to move and lift up these mines, but he doesn't actually lift off the mines. Instead, he deals with the Liberators. However, he pushes the pushback regardless. Soul is forced back right now. Mana is certainly playing very well in the start of this series. He managed to hold off that push. He's now has the first Colossus out, a second out. He's going to be heading up towards the third, and this makes Mana's army so much more viable here. It's going to force Soul to either invest in a large amount of Liberators or into Vikings here. And it seems Soul is choosing Liberators, though, so Mana is going to need to get a large amount of Blink Stalkers here to deal with this, as I believe he lost most of his Phoenix. Yes, he did. He's down to 1 Phoenix and 1 Void Ray. Where that Void Ray is, I'm not sure. There it is. Just on drop duty. So Soul, he's sort of been keeping himself busy back at home. He's up to a 4th planetary, he's up to a 4th base, which is very nice for him, as Mana really is just getting up his 4th base. So Mana may want to push in here, but with this Liberator count for Soul, I don't believe he'll be able to. Ghosts even on the way for Soul right now, so Mana's Colossus advantage, the sort of scariness of these units isn't going to last. The Ghosts just are sort of very effective against Mana's entire army if great EMPs go down. And the Liberators sort of nullify the advantage the Colossus gives, as Mana cannot push into this. There is how many Liberators sieged up? 6 Liberators sieged up. Mana's teching towards disruptors right now. He's getting Blink on the way as he knows he'll need to deal with this Mass Liberator. The Colossus are actually abusing this position, so this is really neat for Mana right now. However, one of these Colossus sitting in a Liberator range. The Stalker's trading with one of the Liberators there, but it's still simply too much for Soul. He's on 2-2 right now. He's got that ship upgrade, so these Liberators deal a large amount of damage. Revelation, another Oracle out for Mana. Very nice right now. Trying to keep himself informed there. We see a drop moving out for Soul. Actually gets 10 probes. That's very nice. A Widow Mine. A cannon place to deal with it here. We see Soul's moving out. He's deciding he's going to try and go for another push, and this is sort of a different push here. There's disruptors out for Mana, though. One good disruptor hit is really all it's going to take for him to take an advantage in this game, but these Liberators, they're able to zone this position, and this one disruptor sort of rolls forward there. A Revelation goes out on top of this army. Very nice for Mana, staying on top of the entire army here, and we see these Colossus just trying to get anything they can done. Disruptor shot goes out. Soul's going to need to split. He does a very good job there splitting, but it's sort of still weakened his army a great deal. The Colossus on the high ground, Liberators sieging up, so there may actually be too much for Soul here. Mana blinking back, pulling out, but he's lost all his Colossus. He's down just to a couple Blink Stalkers. The Disruptors didn't really get the hits they needed, and now Mana's in a very tough situation. He's warped in more depth. He's got 2 more Disruptors on the way. This is what he's going to need to defend this push right now, if he can. Pulling everything is Mana. He's even brought over this one Phoenix. Soul landing his Vikings as they no longer need a double disruption. Novas go out, but that's really all that Soul had. EMP goes down, and the Adepts sort of halving their health there. And now we see the Stalkers, the Adepts, trying to push back this army, but there's Widow Mines, there's these Marauders, and there's so many Medivacs just healing this army up. It looks like Mana may be going down in the first game after holding that first push. Soul just managing to rally and sort of bring Mana down. And GG gets called as Mana takes the first game in the series. I mean Soul, sorry. So Soul takes the first game there. That was certainly a close game, though, so if it's any indication of what we're going to have here. We should have a great series on our hands. The second map is going to be Belshir Vestige here. Now, that is Soul's pick as well. Mana playing very solid here, but we're going to see if he'll be able to bring it back. I mean, we've saw a 3-0 today. We may see another one, who knows, but either way, the games have been great regardless. So I hope you guys are enjoying the stream today. Make sure to let everyone know that it's going on, tweet it out and whatnot, as we have another great best of 5 on the way here. Both of these players ready up, so we're going to be heading on into the second match of this best of 5. It is going to be on Belshir Vestige. A TVP, so this is sort of a map in which can really go either way. I think there's a bit of room for Soul to go for things like drops, but ultimately it should be another close match, hopefully. Okay, so heading on into second map, spawning up in the top left-hand side, playing for Tess Esports. It is Soul. And now spawning down the bottom right-hand side of the map. Currently down 0-1. It is Mana. We're going to see if Mana's going to be able to bring it back and secure as a Liquid versus Liquid finals. Otherwise, it's going to be Soul looking to try and take his second match here. So both players last game was certainly not a standard opening. I mean, a proxy across the map. It's doubtful we'll see that again coming out of Soul here. Mana opening up with that double gas again. Soul just going for the one gas here, so it's looking like Soul's going to open up more macro-oriented. Maybe Mana had a plan in the last game that he didn't quite get to do, as he was sort of interrupted there by Soul's Cyclones and Liberators and everything else. So we've got a Reaper coming out for Soul here. Now, it's very standard opening from these guys. Mana is electing to go for the Cybercore first always, not wanting to deal with any Reaper shenanigans as a Protoss. I know the few times that I play Protoss and Terran versus Protoss, it always goes bad. I always think, alright, I'll go for the quick Nexus, and then the next thing you know, I lose all my probes to one Reaper. So Mana just going to be opening up, I assume, with an Adept, maybe his Mothership Core. He opened up with a Stargate immediately last time, and he's going for it again here. Then getting out his Adept here, so going to rely on the Adept for defense. But look at this, Soul comes in with an SCV. And here we... oh, he actually just turns around. Not expecting a Stargate so quickly. So this SCV is sort of just hanging out at the natural of Souls, at the natural of Mana, just sort of seeing that nothing's heading out. This Adept is out, so it should be able to shut down sort of any scouting in case that SCV comes back in, but it's going to be up to the Reaper, who's actually staying at home. Soul may be a little on edge here. He's starting a bunker already. He's actually lifting off his factory, so it's going to be Hellions. This is a certainly different opener for Soul. A starport on the way, so I assume it's going to be a Hellion drop here. Actually cancels the bunker there, not salvage it. Either way, you get 75 minerals back. Or maybe that was a salvage, I'm not too sure. So Soul playing it a bit safe there. Maybe a bit worried that his SCV didn't see anything, but then again, he didn't actually exactly scout everywhere. So Oracle is coming out for Mana here. Gonna see if it gets any damage done. That Oracle was very key for the defense in the last game, but this time we're gonna see if it can get any offensive damage done right now. But here we see two Hellions and the Reaper moving in here. These two Adepts are in position, though. Adept's very good versus Hellions. Actually picking off one of them. We see two probes have gone down. There may be a third, so yeah. 3 probes for 2 Hellions and an Adept. Honestly, that's a trade I think Mana's going to be fine with. It wasn't critical damage or anything. He's now getting up a third base. So Mana, very sort of interested in macroing up in this game, it looks like. He's now moving in with this Oracle, and this mineral line's actually exposed. Oh, actually, never mind. No, it's not. Okay, that even tricked me. I saw the Widow Mine to the right side, and I thought, alright, I guess that base may take a bit of damage there. May lose a few SCVs. Nope, Soul. Double up. Got 2 Widow Mines there. Now we actually see another Viking on the way for Soul, so he's opted for 2. I guess not wanting to deal with any Oracle shenanigans, but look at this. We actually saw 2 Adepts come in. That Oracle revealed that 1 Widow Mine. These Adepts pick off 1 mine, and now they're going to get out here. That's something for Mana, but I guess he got a bit of vengeance on that mine for killing the Oracle. So Stim on the way for Soul here. He's just getting up his racks. So standard macro from Soul here, whereas Mana, he's gone for the Phoenix once again. Protoss players really love this sort of Phoenix Adept style, so I assume it will be resonating glaives coming out of Mana again, as that's sort of been the style. All the Protoss players were looking for an answer, and then they found it, and now they're all doing it. So we see these Phoenix are engaging these Vikings, and may actually get one of them. Yes, they do. Soul, I believe, tried to land that Viking there, but lost it. Mana, yeah, look at this. The Viking lands, but it gets picked up. So that's a very nice trade for Mana there. Just a bit of shields and life on one of his Phoenix for 2 Vikings. Very nice there. Gonna sort of secure his air dominance even more. Now we see a Robo on the way for Mana. He's sort of just been relying on this sort of Phoenix Gateway, which is something Protoss players have been doing a lot lately right now, but it is just a few Adepts for defense, so we'll see. As Soul macros up towards his third base. Mana did see the third base, by the way, so he's sort of aware of the situation he's in. It's going to be a while before Soul has a very scary push. And that's going to make Mana happy, as he did go for that very quick third base. He's got a couple of Adepts there to defend it, But with all his map presence, with sort of the Phoenix and the watchtowers and whatnot, Mana's quite comfortable. And now we're actually seeing 5 gateways up. Okay, so this is where Mana decides, alright, it's time to try and kill you. I believe we'll see a Warp Prism coming out for Mana soon. Or maybe he's just going to play a very adept defensive style, but that's not too likely, honestly. Never trust a Protoss is going to be defensive whenever he's going towards 8 gateways here, so that's certainly the choice for Mana right now. He's just going to be going Mass Adepts here, Mass Phoenix Adepts, so these Phoenix are going to be very critical for picking up things like LaughNgamez, for picking off Medivacs. The main story, though, is going to be this Warp Prism sort of just guiding Mana to wherever he's going to attack right now. We see this one Marine trying to get the Watchtower, but those 2 Adepts shut it down right now. And now we see these Phoenix lurking around, 6 Phoenix still being produced for Mana right now, so he may scout this 3rd base. There is a missile turret, though, so the SCVs are not going to be too vulnerable, and Soul playing it very safe, getting up a bunker. If Mana decides to opt for harassment, in which he splits up all of his adepts, this bunker will be very useful. However, if he just decides to go for one large attack and just sort of dive on top of the army, it may be very tough. We now saw these Phoenix pushing back another drop there for Soul, so Soul's hardly been on Mana's half of the map this entire game. We see 2 Liberators out, however there is a large Phoenix count. And now we see, oh, this Warp Prism needs to be careful. Soul throwing has so many missile turrets right now, and the Warp Prism goes down right away. That is not good for Mana. Mana shading in these Adepts, so eating 2 Widowmine shots, but a great split here. He's starting to pick off workers. 13-6. I'm not even going to try and count. SCVs have been falling. Now, while this was a great attack by Mana, it possibly could have been a game-winning move. Maybe it was just a game-winning move regardless, but losing that Warp Prism right away was a critical sort of defense for Soul. I mean, all these missile turrets that he threw up, but he's still bleeding off units. He's lost a large amount of SCVs. We're at 28 SCVs right now, and that number is still growing. Just a few Adepts left for Mana hanging out, but these Phoenix are picking off critical units. We saw another Warpin for Mana. Those Adepts are walking across the map, and that may just be what Mana needed to take this game right now. Soul's half the army supply. No, half the general supply, as so many workers have gone out, so much army now. The production of Soul is just being camped. Mana, I'm sure he's pretty happy about this one, taking the series back right now. With a quick Adept play like that. Very well played. That is how you do it. If you're a Protoss player, that is how you just come back in a series. Very decisive by Mana. So the 3rd map is going to be Newkirk Precinct, and we have a series on our hands. We aren't going to see another 3-0 at least. So now it's 1-1. It could go any direction. Honestly, call me a little biased, but I'd love to see... Mana versus Euthermal in the grand finals here. However, a Terran versus Terran, the last one we had, Soul versus Beastie Cutie, was amazing, so we're going to see how it goes here. So we're just getting into the lobby here, setting everything up, and we'll see if these 2 players are ready to go. So, Newkirk Precinct. For Terran versus Protoss, it's sort of a map which can really be back and forth between the players. Soul is ready. Alright, both players are ready. Not much downtime once again. So we're going to be getting on into the 3rd map of the day. No, yeah, 3rd map. It's currently 1-1. Currently 1-1 between these players here. Alright, so you know I'm the previous Afreeca World Champion. Spawning down the bottom right, it is Soul. And his opponent managed to bring it back. Spawning down the bottom left, it is Mana. So we currently have 1-1 for these players. There's no way I can screw that up. It doesn't matter if I add a point to either score. So, alright, this is Soul saying, alright, proxy the first game, it worked, didn't proxy the second game. Therefore, if I proxy again, it's got to work right. So Sol opting for what's going to look like a standard 2 racks Marine proxy. We'll possibly see more going down there. Mana may be a bit fed up with this, but either way, he's going to have to defend it right now. We're seeing this gateway coming out. Double gas for Mana, so he's going for sort of the same opening. So this is sort of the right idea if you're going to defend this, the later expansion. Nothing too greedy, but maybe Sol's sort of reading Mana, saw that there was no probe scout in either of the games, so this could simply be a quick win for Sol right now, as Mana not scouting. Really, you sort of need to scout a build like this to defend it. Unless you suddenly want a few Marines just running up your ramp. We'll see if Mana sort of starts this Nexus and then moves out, but we actually see this probe, it's moving out. Where's it going though? It's actually heading straight towards the main base of Sol. Or no, it's sort of looking around. It's looking for a proxy, but wrong direction there, as there's 4 racks just right outside the base of Mana. Up north. Now, Mana's going to move in to scout this, but I believe he may be a little late. He may see the SCV moving out, and that may tip him off here, or he may just think that's a normal SCV scout. There's no Adept on the way from Mana right now. If he goes for a Stargate again, he may just be dead. These Marines are moving in. The Nexus is started. Sol's moving in. He doesn't shoot it, so Mana's still not tipped off. There's no Adept on the way. The Adept is just coming out. No Mothership on the way. The Stargate's going to need to be immediately cancelled. A Mothership's going to need to be chrono boosted out. These Marines are just sitting here. Mana sees this. He sees 3 Marines. Those aren't supposed to be there. 2 more gateways going up for Mana right now. He's panicking. He's got a Mothership core on the way out, so that's going to be able to buy him some time. This Adept needs to be careful not to be rallied right into these Marines. Probes are pulled right now, but this is 5 Marines right now. We see these probes are mineral walking to try and pick this off. A Mothership core is out. A pylon gets thrown up, but that's just going to be picked off by these Marines right away right now. This Adept needs to be careful. We see that the Stargate's finished up, but I'm not sure what use that's going to be. It might have been best with Mana cancel. That I'm not too sure. I'm not a Protoss player. I don't know how he's supposed to defend this. We see the Mothership core trying to buy time right now, just sort of letting its shields be eaten, but there's no pylon in a critical position. These pylons defend the Nexus, but the Cyber core, the gateways, are starting to be poked right now. And this bunker is up. A second bunker going up for Sol. Sol's sort of building his base inside of Mana's right now. This Cyber core is going to go down, and this is so critical for Mana right now. We see 2 Adepts are queued up. Another pylon tries to get started for Mana, but this simply may just be him choked out very quickly right now. Another pylon attempted to be started, but this is a large amount of Marines. That pylon is not really going to live. Actually, it may. This could be very good for this bunker, not in range, or maybe just focusing this gateway. This pylon getting up is going to be very nice for Mana. It's going to allow him to photon overcharge. It's going to be in range with this bunker, so Mana's going to need to photon overcharge, and he's going to need to hold this position, but the pylon gets picked off. There goes the main DPS that he was relying on, and now supply block is Mana. He's not able to produce anything more. This simply may just be GG. Probes are going to need to be pulled at some point, but there's already probes bleeding off, so there's not too many of them left. GG gets called. And that is how Sol takes a 2-1 lead. Okay, so Sol apparently wanting to run towards the finals here. Oh, I just realized, totally got the wrong players on that. It is Sol versus Mana, not Sol versus TLO. So, that didn't really tell us too much. That told us that Sol knows how to go for a proxy racks. Mana didn't. He scouted. The one game in which he goes for sort of a probe scout doesn't really help him there. So now the 4th map is going to be Proxima Station. We're going to see if Mana's going to be able to bring it back. Proxima Station, I believe, is a map in which Protoss are pretty happy with. It's got a bit of open room for drops and things like that, but the players... But once the Protoss is solidified, they're sort of fine. So either way, we're gonna see if we can head towards a game 5, or if Sol will take it and advance to the finals. Both players ready up. We're getting right on into it. I believe these players, they're not going to be done playing Starcraft for the day after this. I believe they're going to be heading right on into the WCS Ladder Challenger, so everyone's really active right now. All the pros are really practicing. So spawning down in the bottom left-hand side of the map, the yellow Protoss looking to bring it back here. It is Mana. And spawning up in the top right-hand side, the red Terran player with a bit of a cheeky win in that last game. It is Soul. So just no SCVs heading out right now, so Soul not proxying. Well, maybe he will. Maybe we'll see him change it up, but not too likely on this map at least. Mana's got to be thinking, alright, there's no way he proxies me a third time, right? So we'll see if he just goes for that sort of standard build like he did last time. Alright, not too much to talk about right now. We're looking to see if Soul advances on into the finals. He managed to take the last Afreeca global tournament. We're going to see if he can take the second one. That would sort of be a great story if Soul can just sort of be the champion of Afreeca tournaments right now. We see Mana scouting now. He's sort of maybe learned his lesson a bit, just heading right towards the main base of Soul. Gonna see an SV. They're not even gonna bump into each other. Mineral lock, not too social there, are the workers. But yeah, if you guys are unfamiliar with the Afreeca website, the stream's been going pretty well, so I hope you're enjoying it. They're also putting on sort of a Streamcraft event. Afreeca certainly loves Starcraft. If you're unaware, they host the GSL. And then they're also doing a Streamcraft event, and so if you stream on Afreeca, you can win things like hoodies and whatnot. I personally did it, and I think I won a pylon, one of the pylon chargers. So that was neat. Streaming on Afreeca, the website's certainly great, and that's actually in my experience, as I have streamed on here a few times when I'm not just doing these events. So Mana, it may be a dream come true. He's finally getting up his Stargate. Not gonna be having to deal with anything like that. So, looking to be the same sort of play. Maybe Mana's just deciding, alright, I mean, so game one, I'm sort of just going on a bit of a tangent here. Game one, Mana most likely was heading towards the sort of Phoenix Adept, but he was sort of intercepted. Game two, he gets to Phoenix Adept, he wins. Game three, he gets intercepted by the proxy. So we're gonna see how game four goes, I guess. That's sort of the trend of things. Now Soul going for a very greedy third command center, so playing with fire in a sense here. I don't believe that was a CC first, but he's opting towards some intense greed here. We're going to see if Mana sees this, and now Mana is scouting around, just looking for anything that he can find. This Adept, not finding anything, but this Oracle, going to be very nice for Mana. Hopefully, for his case, it moves in, it sees the base, and then he'll know to try and punish Soul or go for his own greed. But for now, the Soul's just producing Marines, so Marines very great, but there's always going to be room for an Oracle to get damage done. It's coming in here, it's heading straight towards the natural, it looks like. May just get there in time before the turret finishes up. We'll see. This may actually just be perfect timing out of Soul. It looks like it's going to be the Oracle is going to be pushed back, head towards the natural. Nope, there's a missile turret. So no damage done there for Mana right now. He sees sort of the gateways and the amount of Marines right there, so he may be looking sort of for a third base right now. Flying around still, trying to see it, and yes he does. He sees the third base, so this may just be where Mana has a smile and says, you're gonna die to Adepts. So we'll see how well this goes to, as I believe it is looking like it's gonna be a 3-base sort of multi-gate Adept timing like it was last time, compared to the builds at least. So eBay on the way for Soul, so he already has one, so it's most likely he's going to be heading towards more upgrades. Mana managing to pick off 1 or 2 SCVs, always finding room with this Oracle, very nice of him. if he goes for a push later, or just if the game goes later, oracles are always a useful tool. We now see Phoenix coming out. I believe there's already a few out. There's just one out for Soul right now. And then he's, I believe, going to be starting a Robo soon here. So this Oracle's still just poking and prodding right now. Seeing what there is to see. Now 1-1 on the way for Soul, and look at this. This is a bit ambitious out of Soul. Landing in third base. Ooh, Mana loses the Oracle there. That was not nice. It was sort of just sitting there thinking it was safe, but Soul managed to get it. That many Marines, I believe that's what? 14 Marines only need to fire a few times to pick it off all at once. So the third base landing for Soul, he's happily macroing up. I believe he was just getting up his third base as the timing hit for Mana last time, and it's going to be Adepts once again. Now 1-1 may be done by the time this timing hits, however there will be +1 for Mana with this attack at least. Chrono boost out on this Twilight Council, so a Resonating Glaive's going to finish up, these gateways all finishing up. We're going to see if Soul can defend this. I mean, Terran players know that Protoss players love their Adepts. Protoss players know that Terran players know they love their Adepts, but Protoss players are still loving their Adepts, so they're going to go for it. We're going to see if Soul can hang on right now, or if Mana will be able to sort of split up his Adepts and get some damage done here. The production is getting up for Soul right now. Army supply is equal right now. We got a few Adepts and Sentries, and this is interesting, the Sentries for Mana, as you can't exactly warp in Sentries. We may see the Sentries be lifted up into the Warp Prism as it comes out. Mana's not necessarily been rushing this attack, he's sort of just been playing it cool. Very calm and calculated he is. He's actually going into a robotic space, so maybe he's not opting for this large aggression. I believe he'll go for some sort of poke at least. But he may just be opting for some Warp Prism harassment into defense. The Observer's out, moving towards the third base of Soul, so gonna see what's up. Well, just sort of camp there for vision. And Mana has these Phoenix, so he's very aware of what's going out on the map. He lifts up Adepts here, but it looks like he's actually just going to go for some harassment here and then macro. A second Forge on the way, so Mana is not all-inning this game. He's sort of playing it safe. Going to be heading towards the Zone 2-2 upgrades eventually. Soul's 2-2 is already on the way. And now we see a double robotics facility is on the way here. Soul managed to take game number 1, in which Mana did go for this sort of similar Colossus, for the Colossus macro, but we're going to see if it's completely different, as game 1 opened up with a proxy, so it's sort of hard to count realistically here. Blink on the way for Mana much sooner. We're going to want to be able to deal with these Liberators, and now not going for an attack, he is going to keep his Phoenix alive, which will help deal with the mass Liberators of Soul. Actually going to move and try and pick off a Medivac here. These Phoenix are sharking around right now. I'm not sure what happened to that Prism. It is still just, it's moving into the third base. Soul, or Mana, finding an angle on Soul here. These Adepts are moving in. They're not shading though, so they are just going to trade with this bio. Mana picks all but one of the Adepts off, one of them being abandoned. He's trying to save it, but the Adept AI rallying the wrong way. We now see Soul dropping at the fourth base of Mana. Double Widowmine there. These Phoenix are diving right on top of this Medivac, picking them off, so these Marines are sort of stranded here. The Phoenix took a bit of damage there, but that was certainly worth it, reducing the Medivac count. We see a triple drop from Soul there, but double Photon Overcharge, mass Adept Warp in for Mana, keeps them safe right now. This Warp Prism is just chilling right there. Awkwardly looking at the third base, not able to go for any harass due to this, due to these Marauders. And now we actually see these Marines stimming in. Mana is not paying attention. He's going to lose another air unit. It survives just barely. Oh no, this Liberator's actually chasing it down. Mana's going to need to unload these Adepts or move it. I guess he's busy with other things to go. So Soul is sort of safe from all harassment. He's got his 2-2, but there is not really any other upgrades on the way for Soul, so it's going to be 2-2 versus 2-2. The main story is really going to be how well Mana can control with his Blink Stalkers right now. He's got the Colossus count. So it's going to be mainly a Liberators versus Blink Stalkers. We're going to see how this goes. If Mana can take a good angle, he should be able to hold on. Hopefully he doesn't fight for his, hopefully for his sake, he doesn't fight right before these upgrades are finished, but they are finished now. But this is a large count of Liberators. Mana's warping in more Stalkers. The Adepts are going to be able to shade in on top of this army. The Colossus eating 1 or 2 Liberator shots right now, but Soul's coming in. He has a large amount of army right now. The players are equal on army supply. However, the Phoenix were not in the fight to pick off things like Liberators. The Colossus are forced back, but it seems that Mana may have held right now. More Adepts warping in right now. The Phoenix moving in, trying to pick up the Medivacs, but they were all very weak, so they're just shredded. The 4th base is vulnerable. It's sort of been split off right now. Mana can't push in. He's moving in with his units. He's eating the Liberator shots right now, but that is 4 Liberator. He blinks in to try and get out of the way, but Liberators are facing all the directions right now. This Disruptor Nova going out, and all these units are actually lifting off for Soul. Mana Photon, double Photon overcharge here to try and intercept this drop, but Soul's heading towards the 3rd base. The Stalkers blink a bit preemptively and reveal themselves, so Soul not going in towards the natural of Mana. Soul's managed to hang on right now, but all these Liberators are still alive, which is a massive pain. And look at this, these Liberators are actually able to attack these Colossuses. There's nothing there to defend them. There is actually no Observer either, so these Widowmines may simply just take out... Oh, a Disruptor Shot goes out, actually picks up that one Widowmine, but not after it fires. So now we see another engagement happening right now. These Liberators need to be picked off by Mana. He's sort of got the beef to take on the army, but the Liberators are still shredding his units right now. There's only a few Stalkers to deal with these Liberators. More of these Liberators sieging up right now. Another Disruptor comes out from Mana. It's going to be able to shoot. Soul's going to need to split when it does. But no, the Liberator, or the Disruptor does just get picked off right now, and it looks like Mana's falling apart. Not able to deal with all these Liberators right now. This one Colossus is sort of the backbone of his army right now, but there's Vikings out. It's just a handful of Stalkers that are left, and it looks like Soul's going to be able to take the series and advance to his 2nd Afreeca Global Finals right now. The 4th base of Mana's being choked out, and GG gets called as Soul advances here. So it's going to be Euthermal versus Soul in a Terran versus Terran Finals. Now, Soul managed to take the last Terran versus Terran Finals 4-3. We'll see if he's able to take this one here. Oh dear, don't tell me we're dropping frames like last time. Okay, so we're just going to try and find out what's happening. We had this issue last time, dropping frames, so I'm just going to restart the stream here while we sort of set up the match. Forgive me as I mumble to myself about technical issues. I hope you guys are sticking around to watch the stream. Sorry about this. 5th map is going to be Palladino Terminal. Stream is just getting started here. Alright, we're streaming at 3K. Alright, the 6th map is Cactus Valley. Alright, still dropping frames. Doesn't look like it's too much right now, though. So I guess, All right. No more dropped frames, it looks like, so this is an odd issue. Sorry for all the technical issues, everyone. Hope that's all right. Either way, we're going to be getting into a best of 7 grand finals between these guys. Okay, we don't seem to be dropping any more frames. So we're going to cross our fingers that everything goes well. And then I believe we're just going to hop right on into it. We'll give the first game a go, see how it goes. Alright, so it looks like both players are readying up here. We're going to be getting on into the game. On the first map being Abyssal Reef between these two players. Alright, so I hope you guys have enjoyed the first 2 best of 5s, but now we're getting on into the grand finals here. Soul versus Euthermal. Euthermal, a very scary player for Soul to take on here, but if he does, he'll be the 2-time champion. Oh dear, you'll have to forgive me for... Okay, oh dear, what did I press? One of these buttons. How do I get that to go away? Oh god damn it, hang on. I was messing around with the things and now I pulled this up. Okay, Shift L. I knew I accidentally pressed a key. There we are. GLHF, top 1 Terran EU. So, both these players very good Terrans, but Euthermal certainly the more known and the scary one. So we're going to see if Soul can bring it back. Soul spawning up in the top left-hand side of the map. And Euthermal, the guy who's proxying a Reaper, spawning down the bottom right. So here we are, we have Euthermal, double racks Reaper proxy. It's a Terran versus Terran. You can't blame any of the players for this. This is just how it starts. It's the nature of the matchup. So we're going to see if Soul can deal with this. Opening for a gas first, I believe Soul did. But he's not scouting, so we'll see if he can hang on. There's a variety of Terran versus Terran builds. There's a variety of Terran versus Terran builds which can sort of play out. And so really it's going to depend on if Soul can hold this as to how he follows it up. He opens up with a Reaper, so it looks like it's going to be a Reaper expand here. No scout though, so this is sort of the best case, worst case scenario in a sense. Best case scenario, I mean, he opens up with something like a factory first, but he's gone for the command center. But then he's also not scouting it, so he's gonna be going for a factory. So really it's all going to come down to his Reaper positioning right now, as if Soul's Reaper is caught off guard, he will simply lose the game. If he loses his Reaper, that's how it goes. Or we'll see if he opens up with another. It's likely going to be Reactor follow-up. This is the common build here. So this is where Soul's going to be in trouble. He's moving out with his Reaper. He's actually moving down. He may see Euthermals, but if these 2 Reapers catch Souls, he's not pulling back his Reaper. Euthermal just dives on top of it. Soul is in trouble here. His Reaper goes down. GG. That's it. Game number 1 goes to Euthermal. So, that is Terran versus Terran to a nutshell here. We're just going to be hopping on into game number 2. Okay, so the second map is going to be Newkirk Precinct here. You can't blame Soul for tapping out like that. When you have no production, no viable production, and you lose your Reaper, you simply lose the game. That is Terran versus Terran. Euthermal went for a gamble. It paid off. So we're just setting up the next lobby. Now it's a best of 7 though, so there's lots of room for Soul to come back into it. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. I mean, that's Terran versus Terran. We're bound to have some proxies here. Just setting up the next lobby. Since it is Newkirk Precinct, it's not too likely to be a second proxy. And here we are, we're getting into game number 2 of this best of 7. Hope you guys are enjoying the stream. It seems that the sort of lag issues or things like that have worked their way out. So now we're going to be getting on into game number 2 here. Let me just make sure to remember to swap the overlay. Alright, so here we are. Spawning down the bottom left-hand side, currently down 0-1 in a very quick first game. It is Soul, and now Euthermal, the man who is currently up 1-0. I mean, we're going to forget about that first game. You can't gauge the series off that. Euthermal spawning down the bottom right, and okay, here we go. This is how it goes. This is Terran versus Terran. This is Euthermal Terran versus Terran, I guess. Someone who's bold enough to go for what's looking to be a double proxy Reaper, I assume. Now Soul going for the quicker gas, whereas Euthermal is opting, just has to sort of wait a second as he sent out that early SCV. So it is going to be a Rax here. We'll see if Soul scouts, as this is mind games here. This is complete Terran versus Terran mind games. Now, it is just a one-way jump up, but once again, if Soul loses this first Reaper in Terran versus Terran, if he goes for the same build, he could simply just lose here. And it looks like he is opting for the same build right now. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. We'll see. Double gas for Euthermal, so maybe it's not going to be Reapers here. I think this may be Cyclones. Coming out of Euthermal, he did just send out the one worker, so changing it up a bit. Now, this means that this attack is going to hit a bit later, but it's going to hit harder. It's not going to be sort of a simple snowball and win. It's going to be sort of a hard push. But no, it looks like it's going to be Marauders, a single Rax Marauder proxy coming out of Euthermal. This is interesting. Certainly changing it up here, but Soul is going to be tough pressed to defend this. Now, this is sort of more easy to defend as a Terran player than Reapers, in my experience, or what I'm aware of. As a Reaper is very effective. SCVs are very effective against Marauders. Marauders, he's going to have concussive shells. And now Soul's actually moving up north, so he may scout this. Yes, he does. There's no concussive shells, so he'll need to pull back that Reaper, and he does. So Soul's now aware of this. We're going to see a bunker go up, I assume. He cancels the command center. He cancels the reactor. Now Soul's going to need to pull a few SCVs. If he holds off this first Marauder and gets up a bunker, he'll be in a fine position right now. So this is what it's going to come down to. This Reaper trying to buy time right now. As long as the SCVs buffer for this bunker, he should be fine. The SCVs are pulled. They're just buying time. It's very tough for Euthermal to push up this ramp right now. And we're actually seeing the bunker complete, it looks like. So Soul, this may simply be a clean-cut hold right now. As once this bunker is up, sure, he may lose a supply depot or two, but he should be fine. He's getting out of Cyclone right now. And Euthermal didn't commit too heavily to this. It was a proxy Marauder. Soul's restarted his command center, and now Euthermal's getting up a starport and a factory back at home. So the only real pain for Euthermal is that his barracks is on the other side of the map. Now Soul's getting up his own starport. He's going to lose a supply depot or two, I believe, because that's just what these Marauders can do. Now the Marines and the Cyclone are coming out, so the Cyclone may actually be able to push these back. There is concussive shells though, so this could be kited. And there's high ground vision, so Soul may have overcommitted a little bit to this. Euthermal trying to out-micro this. One of the Marauders goes down. The second is going to go down. So now it's 2 Marines versus a Marauder here. Now, Soul committed to save the supply depot, but it's actually burning down. This Marauder may be able to pick it off here. So the supply depot does go down. Now, the Reaper for Soul, I believe, also is cleaned up there. So Euthermal opening up with a quick and dirty proxy may actually simply have won himself an advantage in this game. It's over by no means, but this one Marauder's being such a nuisance here with this concussive shell. Now, the CC is done much, much quicker for Soul, so that's going to be his advantage, whereas Euthermal has a tech advantage right now. Soul's opening with a Viking, though. Now we see this one Cyclone and these two Marines are trying to work away on this barracks. Euthermal restarted his own barracks. So now we're seeing a starport coming out of Euthermal here. Now Soul's opening up with a Viking here. We'll see if he starts another. This is where this game sort of becomes interesting and sort of defined. We're going to see if Euthermal moves across the map and if this Viking can intercept the Raven here. Soul's playing it safer by going for the Viking here. It sort of trends better towards the late game by building up a Viking count, whereas Euthermal opting for a Raven. We'll see if he opts for a second one. Now we see this Rax is still alive, it's floating, it's trying to see what there is to see, and it may actually scout the third base of Soul. The barracks is floating to the corner, trying to survive. It's going to start burning down, but we'll see if Euthermal, or will it start burning? Yes, it will.
Add-on complete.
But Euthermal, he scans, he sees the third command center, and he knows the situation. And this is what I mean about the Ravens being strong. If Euthermal identifies this and goes for his own push with tanks, Ravens, and Marines, that is a very, very strong push and hard for Soul to hold off, as Ravens' auto turrets simply count as so many units when it comes down to a fight. And now the Vikings, the Ravens can always suicide in and throw down auto turrets, so that puts them in a very good situation. So we're seeing sort of the players' colors here. Let me also sort of fix that. Okay, so it's a best of 7 here. And both players are macroing up right now. While Euthermal's, though, looking towards going to a push as he gets up his production, where Soul is truly macroing, going for a third CC. Gonna possibly kill off that tech lab? No, he pulls back. Did he not see it? He saw it. He knows it's there, but he's gonna leave it, I guess. Interesting enough. I guess not wanting to be caught out of position there. This one Marine for Soul is moving out across the map. Possibly gonna see there's the tank, the 2 Cyclones. And maybe move out. We see Euthermal lift off that starport, so not wanting to produce air units, just going for a large amount of bio right now, it looks like. And here we go, the 2 Raven hit squad. Alright, I'm learning, observing as we go along here. So, here we are, the 2 Ravens looking to get some SCV kills, maybe hoping that the third base landed very quickly. It did not. Now moving in towards the natural here, this is, what, 4 auto turrets? Okay, so this could kill an absurd amount of SCVs if Soul doesn't pull. He pulls very quickly, but these Ravens, there's enough auto turrets to keep chasing down these SCVs here. 2 auto turrets go down. They're going to sort of start trading with these workers right now and with these units. The Vikings are moving in to be in pursuit right now. Another auto turret goes down and maybe focus fire down the Viking. 5 SCVs have gone down so far. Soul just trying to save his units right now, not chasing the Ravens. Both players going to have Stim 1-1. Soul does have Combat Shield. Euthermal does not have it started, as he is just on the 1 Tech Lab, whereas Soul is on the 2. So that's actually going to be a very significant advantage if the players fight right now, but that's not too likely, as Euthermal is getting up his own 3rd CC on location. But for now, Soul is certainly at an economic lead, so he's got potential to bring this series back to a 1-1 here, after he held another proxy. So Soul scans, sees where Euthermal is, and if Soul looks at this objectively, he's going to know he's ahead, but I guess he's deciding. You went for aggression, it didn't pay off, I'm going to attack right now, and so we may actually see these Ravens picked off. No, they fly out, but this Marine's actually going to intercept these Ravens here. Auto turret goes down to kill the Marine. And Soul's pulling back, and now I think this is the right move for Soul, as he's up on workers. He's got a 14 SCV lead right now. So as the game goes on, it'll pay off. It'll sort of build up a larger army count. He's going to be heading towards his 2-2 quicker as well. He's already got 1-1, whereas Euthermal doesn't. Euthermal is only just getting up his combat shields, so Soul will have an upgrade advantage this game. Now, as long as Soul doesn't take a bad fight and sort of bleed out here and die, but it looks like he may have overcommitted a little bit there. Now he's pulling back here, but he's bled off a large portion of his army. A large amount of his supplies also in these medivacs here. So Euthermal's pushing across the map, and he's got 5 tanks right now. Soul's trying to take a fight. He's got an upgrade advantage right now, so that's sort of going to work for him, and this may actually be enough. Soul, great decision there to be able to pick this off and force Euthermal back. That is exactly what Soul needed, as if Euthermal had gotten sieged up there, Soul would have simply lost the game. 2-2 on the way for Soul, so he's got this upgrade advantage, but he is still going to be in trouble here as Euthermal collapses on top of this army. Soul's going to need to react here. He pulls back. He's going to need to catch Euthermal unsieged, or at least to solidify this position with his own. Now Soul's moving in, but he's going to need to pull back here. He can't engage into these tanks, but he is. The tank's shelling away on Soul's Marines right now. Soul's just trying to stop Euthermal from getting to his throat right now. Euthermal unsieging his tanks, but Soul's moving in. He's down on Marines by a large number, though. He needs to continue producing. He is, but he's down on army supply, and in a mirror matchup like this, supply can mean a large amount. And now, since both the players are on even upgrades, Euthermal is in a good situation. He's just built up this absurdly high tank count. Now, both players scanning. Soul's going to need to siege up his tanks right now. As long as he buys time and defends, he's got a worker advantage. He's got an upgrade advantage on the way. Euthermal's 2-2, nowhere in sight here. Soul got out his own Viking. Both players going to sort of have an air battle right now. 2 Vikings for Soul, so this is where air domination comes in to effect in TVT right now. Both players sort of just sieged up in a line. Scans going down non-stop. You don't want to be caught out. And now we see Soul sort of suicide dropping to try and pick off one of the tanks of Euthermal, but he doesn't. He trades a Marine for a bit of tank health. Not a terrible trade. Both players producing Vikings. They want that air control. It means a lot in this. A 4th on the way for Soul. Planet, it's actually going to be an orbital, so that's bold. Could be vulnerable to drops later on. This Viking for Soul is going to get cleaned up here, so Euthermal takes the air control, and now it's going to, and now he's also got these Liberators, so this is going to be able to force Soul back right now. However, Soul's 2-2 is going to be on the way. If there's a time for him to take a fight, it's going to be in the near future, as Euthermal's 2-2 is sort of just getting there. It's going to be a while before it's actually like fully out though. So we see Soul, he's trying to take an angle right now, and he's actually engaging here. Very bold right now, bleeding off a few Marines. He needs to turn around and fight if he can. These Marines do have an upgrade though, so since it is just Marine versus Marine, he will take that fight, but Soul bled off a large portion of his siege tanks there. However, Soul is heading towards the 4th. He's got +3 on the way. He's got +1 tank upgrades on the way. However, he doesn't have many tanks right now. He's trying to take a fight right now, but he's going into Euthermal siege tanks, and now Euthermal sees how many Marines Soul bled off. Soul's in a tough situation. He's down on army supply, and he's having a hard time catching up right now. He's in a tough situation, but his upgrades are keeping him in this game. He's now got his tank upgrades done, so his tanks will hit much harder. However, Euthermal, he's got this air control, so he will be able to bully Soul right now. These 4 Vikings are everything. Soul doesn't have reactors on these 2 barracks. He just needed units out. Now he's going for a fight. He's still got this upgrade advantage, so it's actually working out quite well. More units are rallying in. He cleans up the army of Euthermal. He's picking off all the Vikings, and now he's going to be able to engage into these 3 tanks if he rallies. He's actually going to drop on top of them, unloading his Marines. This is a massive play from Soul, managing to pick off all these tanks, clear the board of Euthermal's units, and Euthermal's 2-2 is going to finish up right after this battle right now. Soul is forced to pull back. He loads up into the medivacs. However, there isn't a boost. He pulls back to his siege tank. He's taking a fight right now. The tanks are trying to hang on. Soul's rallying out all of the Marines he can. The tank's shelling away. However, it seems that Euthermal may have reached a tipping point and is pushing Soul back. Soul is forced further back. A large amount of Marines and tanks have rallied out, so he may be able to re-secure this position. SCVs are pulled, but the barracks are acting as a choke against Soul right now. He sieges his own tank to secure this position, but he's bled off SCVs. He's bleeding off Marines. The tank for Euthermal is also sieged right now. The tank is going to go down for Soul, and it seems that Euthermal may have just edged out this game. There's so few units on either side right now. However, the production for Soul's compromised. His third base is compromised. He's going to have to lift off. Euthermal has no fourth base, and Soul scans to try and confirm it. But he simply may have lost this game. The command center is going to go down. Soul's moved to his fourth base right now. Soul is going to have 3-3 soon. So if Soul knows that Euthermal's only on 3 bases, he may be content with this. But for now, he doesn't. Soul's feeling like he's in a terrible situation. He's still down on army supply right now. He's going to have an upgrade advantage soon, and he may know this if he scans and clicks on Euthermal's Marines. But he can't fight before this upgrade advantage. Okay, Soul now has plus 3 weapons, so he has an upgrade advantage that's finished. He can take a fight right now if he wants to. However, Euthermal's sieging up more tanks. He's got 3 tanks sieged. It may be tough for Soul to overcome this. He's spreading his units. He may be looking to take a fight, and he does. Euthermal's Marines balled up, though, which is in his favor right now, but it seems that Euthermal's Marines are falling to the ones of Soul. So GG gets called. Soul goes for the engagement, but it doesn't pay off there. So GG. Euthermal takes a 2-0 lead. That was an incredibly close game there, but that could have gone either way. Soul trying to play with that upgrade advantage, but it didn't quite pay off. That is what makes TVT good. Games like that, it's scary to play as a Terran player, but watching that is truly a treat. So we're getting into Honor Grounds, which is going to be the next map here. Soul is currently down 0-2, but the second game, that was close. That shows that he can go toe-to-toe with Euthermal. And if Soul had just solidified, it's a terrible feeling. But it's a terrible feeling that he wasn't able to quite solidify there. As he was close. As he almost had a chance. It just didn't quite work out there. So the next map is going to be Honor Grounds here. We haven't seen this map today, so it's going to be our first time seeing it. Euthermal currently up 2-0. I'm not sure if he'll be able to close the deal out, but Soul's shown that he can, that these TVTs can go either way. All right, so Soul rearing to go. Both these players, ready up here, and we're going to be getting on into the next game. Alright, so we've got the 4-player map Honor Grounds, and we're spawning on cross spawns. So without further ado, spawning down the bottom right hand side of the map, currently up 2-0, it is Euthermal, the Liquid Terran. Very scary, but Soul's trying his hardest to fight him off. Soul's spawning down the bottom left hand side of the map. So it's not too likely that we'll see a proxy or anything out on this map, at least, as it is a 4-player map, so that sort of may give Soul peace of mind. And Euthermal opted for those proxies, maybe because he knows Soul, maybe just because it's a best of 7 and why not. But either way, it's going to go to macro, and that macro, Soul certainly fought hard there, so not just going to be another quick win for Euthermal like the first game. So the openings are actually a little bit different here. Euthermal opted for the quick gas, whereas Soul opted for the later gas. I mean, Soul went a bit more classic. He went for the barracks into the gas. I mean, that's nothing too major to talk about. It's a bit more economic for Soul, it looks like. So it's most likely he'll be going for the quicker command center with this build. And he'll have a slightly later factory here. But yeah, pretty much mirror builds in a mirror matchup here. So Soul will actually have the slightly quicker command center on the way. Euthermal, though, building up the gas, gets his own command center. This is the difference of the builds. Just Euthermal's going to have a slightly quicker factory, slightly later Reaper, slightly later command center. So really, it comes down to preference for these players. Euthermal, I guess, wanting to play. It's a bit safer to go more greedy or to go more aggressive as Euthermal with the quicker factory, in case Soul opted for something which was in the meta not long ago, like multiple Reapers and Hellions or Cyclones. Now, this is where it becomes interesting. Soul's opted for a second barracks here, and this is actually a really interesting build here. A second barracks before his factory. Now, this is what changes things a fair bit, as he's got the later factory by a significant amount, but this means Soul's going to have likely, I assume, a quicker stim pack and a quicker higher buyer count, so it may point towards Soul wanting to go for some later sort of mid-game aggression, whereas Euthermal's opting towards a starport, towards Hellion, so Euthermal may be wanting to go for things like, ooh, look at that command center delay by Soul. His Reaper may also get out there. So as I was saying, Euthermal likely wants to go for quicker aggression, and look at that command center is still delayed. The SCV, Euthermal, that was 6 health points. Boop, and it's done. That was a massive pickoff for Soul there, getting that SCV. So that turned Euthermal's later command center into a significantly later command center. So right now, if I'm Euthermal, I am going to want to get some damage done this. It's not a good feeling to have to lose one SCV to fall behind a bit like that. Now we're seeing Hellions coming out of Euthermal just non-stop, it looks like. Our Raven is out on the way right now, and more Hellions are on the way, so it could be sort of... This is interesting. Normally, if you go for Hellions like this, it could point towards mech, but it is TVT, so they could just be aggressive Hellions. Really, we're going to have to see what Euthermal decides, as Euthermal does not know where Soul is yet. They don't know. He doesn't know if they're close, if he's close, or if he's far, and they are indeed far. So looking at this, it could be mech out of Euthermal. He's opting for another Raven, but normally if you see a Raven, you'd think mech, but this is Terran versus Terran. 2 Ravens can even be common. And another Hellion is coming out here, so this is interesting out of Euthermal. It's not really definitive yet. It could be a bit of a Hellion Raven poke. Those are popular, but usually if you see them done by some players, it's with 2 starports. So this is Euthermal being greedy then. But Soul's also opted for a third, and he also has stim pack on the way. So I'm tempted to say that Euthermal's going mech, and look at this. Oh my gosh, Soul, this Reaper is killing Euthermal. Delays the third base, gets scouting confirmation, whereas Euthermal's still in the dark here. Now, the builds may actually favor Euthermal a bit here, as this, if you think of a Terran who's going for a quick stim drop, Hellions are actually not bad, as there's no combat shield for these Marines yet, so the Hellions will pretty much destroy them along with these Ravens. So Euthermal playing it defensive, and look at this. Oh my gosh, I just realized the players swapped colors, so Soul's the player who's meching. Okay, I got these guys completely backwards. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I've been saying this without hovering over their names. I believe they swapped colors, that may just be me. As Euthermal was red last time. Okay, so this explains why I'm completely wrong here. We now see Euthermal going for a Marine stim drop. However, these Ravens and SCVs are not trading very well. So now Soul's in trouble. Okay, Euthermal may be looking to try and take a 3-0 in this game. Alright, so we see Euthermal, he's scouting the third base, and he's actually putting pressure on it right now. Soul's been meching here. He's got these Hellions though, so he may be able to kill off these Marines. A good split from Euthermal though will sort of nullify this. Soul trying to engage right now, but Euthermal in a good situation versus the meching player. So here we are, 1-1 on the way for Euthermal. I can't believe I did that, and that the players swapped colors. You'll have to forgive me for this. So Euthermal's building up a large amount of bio, and if I reach back into the depths of my mind, I believe I remember a game like this, on this exact map, on this exact positions, in which it was a mech versus bio game, but I believe Soul was the aggressor. and the bio player, whereas Euthermal's playing bio this time. So we're gonna see if Soul can sort of hang on here. We're seeing Euthermal go for another drop right now. Soul lost both of his Ravens, but he's building up a large Viking count to deal with these drops. So it's Marines once again from Euthermal, so if he drops right into some Hellions, and these are blue flame Hellions now, so they'll be much, much more effective, and these Vikings are actually there to intercept here. May lose one of the Vikings, though. Soul needs to be careful. The Viking just survived, so Soul's hanging on right now. Euthermal may be opting to try and engage these siege tanks here. Trying to drop on top of them, but Soul intercepts with the Vikings, so Soul playing it very safe and effective, almost getting those medivacs. That would have been a great pickoff right now. But, okay, here we go. This is how Soul's gonna pursue this game. Double upgrades on the way. Euthermal opting for 2-2 as well, but so Euthermal may actually have a 2-2 upgrade lead to 0-0, which would be huge. For mech, it's not too significant, but it really makes the bio tankier. So Soul is sort of just rallying his units right now. Euthermal opting for drops once again. May actually be able to get on top of these tanks this time. Soul, though, moving in, going to be dropping Hellbats. A reverse sort of drop here on these tanks. All those units stay alive, and Euthermal lost a few Marines there. A sensor tower. Euthermal, I'm not sure if this was an intentional troll in which he dropped the 3 Marines, maybe to sort of trick Soul there, or if it was just for sort of for spotting. Either way, Soul sees them on the sensor tower. Right now we see Euthermal's pushing out, but this isn't too much bio he's got. It's a couple Marauders, it's a good amount of Marines, but this is a significant amount of tanks for Soul. But Euthermal may be able to sort of choke out this gas, which is very important. He's going to scan, start shooting a supply depot, not take out the gas right now. And Soul, oh, there's a Liberator, which is killing off a few of his SCVs. Not too many, though, so Soul's not in a terrible position right now, but it's hard to gauge where a meching Terran is. And now we see Soul. This is something I love to see. Hellbats dropping and Medivacs boosting. Soul moving in, engaging. His Hellions eating a few tank shots, but both of these players sort of butting heads right now. Euthermal falling behind on the army supply, but look at this. This is where, this is the best way, in my opinion, for a Terran player to deal with mech. And that's by going for mass air, and because a Terran meching player has to invest in tanks, they'll want to invest in their own Vikings and their own upgrades. However, Euthermal is basically just using the advantages of Soul playing slow. I'm sort of trying to describe the mech here. Soul's making Vikings, tanks, Hellions. Right now, Euthermal's pretty much just investing in Vikings as his main tech right now. Now, Soul's actually moving out with a pretty scary army right now. He's secured his 4th base. He's getting a planetary this time around. And he's got a couple of tanks right now. However, it seems that Euthermal may have more Vikings. They're going to fight each other. We're seeing a large drop of these Hellbats. However, there's so much bio for Euthermal, so these Hellbats, they sort of were pushed forward, but now they're forced back right now. And looking at this, there's an upgrade. There's an air advantage for Euthermal, and now he's getting a concave on top of this army. The Vikings are possibly going to land, but for now it seems that Soul's going to get cleaned up and be in a very tough situation. Soul killed off a few SCVs, but he's down on supply. Right now, though, he has been producing fairly well, though, but he's down on army supply. He's up on workers. Euthermal's on 5 bases. Just look at this. Got a planetary at his 4th, but then decided, alright, you're not going to be attacking me too much. So now Euthermal's pushing in right now. Soul does not have the air control. Euthermal's actually going to fly over Soul's base, try to pick off some of his Vikings that may be coming out. Interestingly enough, a Viking drop coming out for Euthermal here, littering the ground with their shells there. Meanwhile, Euthermal's looking to sort of go for a drop on top of the army. Soul, though, his Vikings seem to be winning out up north here, but Euthermal is dropping on top of these tanks, but Soul counter-dropping with these Hellbats, but the Hellbats are indeed going to die. So Soul's forced to come back here and push. Euthermal dropping at the back of this planetary fortress, a siege tank there, but it's not in position right now, and it seems that Euthermal may simply have overwhelmed Soul. He's half the army supply. Euthermal going to be taking a 3-0 lead in the series by the looks of things. Soul trying to mech, but he just crumbled there. A very slow crumble, but a crumble nonetheless, and now Soul is just sort of bleeding out. This is enough for Euthermal to take out these tanks, so take out these Vikings. GG gets called. Euthermal takes the 3-0 lead. Very well done. So the fourth map is going to be Proxima Station. It is Soul's pick, so we'll see if he's able to bring it back here. It's going to be a tough climb. Soul needs to win 4 games in a row if he wants to win this series. But we may be having a new Afreeca champion, Euthermal from the Netherlands here. We're just going to be getting on into it. Alright, so there we are. Okay, getting on into the next game. The player colors are fine this time. So here we are. We're gonna see if Euthermal can take a 4-0 right now. I mean, Euthermal is certainly a monster. Soul's been putting up a fight, but he's gonna have to fight hard to come back into this series. Euthermal currently up 3-0. See, now we went and swapped the colors back, so I'm sort of confused again. So anyway, Euthermal, the liquid player, spawning up in the top right hand, gonna get some vengeance for his fallen comrade, Mana. So, spawning down the bottom left hand side of the map, it is Soul, looking to try and become a 2-time Afreeca World Champion, but he's certainly got a mountain to climb right now, as he is down 0-3. And it's been a bit of a tough match for Soul. The first game he simply just died to a Reaper proxy right out the bat. The second game, he just fell apart. The second game was absurdly close, and that's why I think that Soul has the possibility to take some of these maps back. Whereas the third game, that was Soul meching, which it's sort of hard to gauge whether how the players played. So here we are, Euthermal, double gas, Soul opting for a command center first. Okay. Now, Soul could have proxied. He could have gone for his own proxy Marauder, proxy Cyclone, anything like that. But instead, he's opted for his own source of greed. This is something so rarely seen in Terran versus Terran because it's absurdly risky. Soul has opted to go for a command center first. He's got his barracks out. He's going for a later gas right now. And here we are. So Soul started to mine his gas, so he may just get a Reaper out right as this Reaper of Euthermal arrives. This is what's going to make it sort of risky here. Now, the reason why this build works is Euthermal might not go across the map with his Reaper. If this was sort of the old meta, and oh, look at this, Euthermal's actually making multiple Reapers. Okay, this could be trouble for Soul right now. As Soul is actually opting for a Marine here to deal with this. Euthermal's gone for his own Reaper. He's scouting out right now. But Euthermal's opting for his own, for a second Reaper, for a Hellion, for a Medivac. So it's sort of going to be this bit of aggressive poke drop play. And this could be a nightmare for Soul to deal with, as the reason why Terran players don't often go CC first is reasons like this, as Reapers are so good aggressive, Cyclones are so good aggressive, and we saw in that first game, Euthermal simply killed Soul's Reaper and won the game because he had Reapers, and that's how it can go in Terran versus Terran. So Soul's going to try and win the game by just macroing non-stop right now, but Euthermal has certainly got a lead right now. He's going to be having what I assume is a Medivac. No, he's actually opting for a Banshee here, or a Raven possibly. So it's actually going to be a Raven here. Euthermal a little bit supply block, just finishing up right on time. There's that supply depot. These pros and their timing. So Soul's tech is a little bit later, but for now he's gotten away with this. He's got an absurd economic advantage right now. He's already got 2 bases up, whereas Euthermal has none. Euthermal's just been going for a Raven, whereas now Soul's getting up his own Cyclone, which is great for defense. So I sort of knocked this build, and that's because there's such a high potential of just dying, because if Euthermal had gone for another proxy or something like that, Soul would just be dead, no exceptions. Here we see Euthermal looking to poke with these Reapers and Hellions, but there's no Medivac to really help them. So they're not going to get up this ramp right now. And now we see Soul's repositioning, wanting to be prepared for any harassment, making a Widow Mine right now, getting out a Viking. Soul's not in a bad position right now. He simply got this lead, and Euthermal has not punished it right now. Euthermal looks to be going into sort of his... Maybe it's going to be a tank push, but Soul may have sort of gotten away with this for too long before this push hits. As the army supply is now evening up, Soul's got a 9 SCV lead. Euthermal's command center is only just finishing up, so the income has been in Soul's favor for so long right now. And now we're seeing an engineering bay on the way for Soul. He may just throw up missile turrets with this extra income. He's getting his +1 on the way already. He may be looking to have faster stim and combat shield, so Euthermal could just be relying on maybe what could be a push here, or maybe Euthermal will throw up his own fast 3rd command center, which it looks like he may be doing like the last game. But yeah, this is not a bad situation for Soul. It paid off. I knocked this build a lot. That's just how I am. It's really risky considering that you're going into your final match here. So Euthermal scans, sort of sees what Soul's up to, maybe wondering, is there going to be a drop, any harassment? Nope, Euthermal's just staying back on his side of the map, playing it defensive, and this is the best case for Soul, is Soul also is playing it defensive, but he went for better macro, and it's likely going to pay off, and it is paying off. Stimpack is much quicker for Soul right now with this extra mineral income that he had from that fast command center. Euthermal is going to be getting up his own stim just starting soon, I believe. There's Euthermal's stim, but Soul is quicker. He's got +1, so we may simply see Soul turn this economic advantage into a strong push, which is how he can sort of take an advantage in this game. Right now that we see Euthermal harassing these auto turrets coming in, but for Soul's economic advantage, it's really worth it, honestly. He's still equal on workers. He's got the faster tech right now. A bit of mining was disrupted, but for the advantage that Soul had early on, it paid off. Soul lost maybe, what, 7 Marines and a Cyclone? Okay, never mind. That was a bit of a loss there. But his economy is still fine. He's still building up this scary army. Got the army lead. And he's going to have upgrade advantage, so this push may very well work for him. He's actually going to be able to catch these Reapers out. That's also a bit of dead supply that Euthermal has, whereas Soul's is just pure Terran Marine tank. Euthermal sieged up all throughout his main. What is this? Did Soul go for some harassment or something? Oh, okay. Euthermal is pulling to repair the Ravens. Soul's trying to catch these Reapers in the Hellion, but shouldn't really be wasting his time with this. I guess if he can get it, it's worth it. Unless there is, I believe the Reapers could have jumped up there, but either way, they're all going to go down right now. Soul, army supply lead, but his sort of window is going to be closing a bit. As Euthermal Stim's finishing up, he's going to be getting combat shield. +1 on the way for Euthermal, so Soul's maybe got 50 seconds, or maybe 30 seconds to make something happen, and it's not too likely that he will. Double Raven coming out for Euthermal. The Raven had repositioned for Soul right now. I mean, the Viking had, so there's nothing to catch these Ravens. Euthermal has been so good with making damage come with these Ravens, and this is why they're so popular lately right now. Euthermal coming in, actually going to avoid that missile turret. Now the mineral line of Soul is going to be exposed, and Euthermal could simply hit the main base, hit the natural. Soul did scout this though, so he is prepared right now, and it looks like Soul is planning to doom drop Euthermal. Euthermal, though, this is a beautiful base spread. Terran players often are not too happy with the doom drops that happen in Terran versus Terran. They can often simply lose right out to them. But this is pretty much the best defense Euthermal could ask for right now. Euthermal's not invested in a third base. He's got his army incredibly well split. Soul, though, is simply going to drop right now, dropping a tank. There's only one tank in this army right now, though, so Soul may simply lose out. There is actually an upgrade advantage, but this is a beautiful concave for Euthermal, and Soul is going to lose a large portion of his army. These medivacs are going to have to fly away. Loses one of them. Soul killed off 19 SCVs. Okay, I shouldn't be knocking that. Okay, so that simply worked out for Soul. He lost his army. It was crushed, but Euthermal did have to pull the SCVs. He's now down to 30. He lost 20 SCVs there. Soul doesn't have a third CC on the way, but he's got his own scary production. Neither player has 2-2 on the way, but Soul does still have an army advantage right now. Once again, though, looking at it, Euthermal favoring this tank count. And he's actually got an upgraded marine count. He's got these Ravens. So besides this upgrade advantage, Soul isn't in the best position. He's got Liberators, which could help him right now if he takes a fight, but there's Vikings for Euthermal. So once again, we may sort of see this in which Euthermal bullies Soul by using these tanks, by using these Liberators, and this is how Soul lost game number 2, despite it being close, despite him having an advantage. Euthermal's 1-1 gonna finish up, so Soul's gonna need to take a great fight here. But Euthermal can sort of just bully and push in, and breaking a siege tank line is very tough. Euthermal slowly pushing forward with his own tanks. Soul has been building up his own tank count right now, but Soul does not want to get choked out. So he's either going to have to burn scans or go for a drop of his own, but this is going to be seen by Euthermal. Euthermal may reposition his Vikings, or may simply just rally units back at home to deal with this. Oh, okay, so Soul's actually opting for a flank here. This is it. This could be the series deciding move. Soul's coming in for a beautiful concave right now. Euthermal landing, throwing down auto turrets there, I believe, but all the units picked off. Soul comes in for an amazing concave right now. Euthermal, though, simply may have had too much. There's the tanks for Euthermal. Soul is forced back. He's down on army supply. He's lifted off. Euthermal kept 4 of his tanks alive, and now the noose tightens around Soul's neck. Soul's tanks are very weak. Euthermal snipes them off right away. Equal upgrades right now, so Soul's having a hard time taking this fight. Euthermal, more units are rallying in. Soul has more and more reinforcements coming out. He's got this defender's advantage. However, Euthermal's rallying everything he has across the map. Soul's down on army supply, and most of it's in medivacs. It may look like Euthermal is taking this series 4-0 here. GG gets called as Euthermal does take the series 4-0. Very well played by Euthermal there. Soul tried his hardest to fight. The games were close, but in the end, that just, I mean, that's the series. It wasn't necessarily the full game best of 7 like last time, but we had great games today, so hope you guys enjoyed watching. Thanks for coming out and supporting Afreeca World. Thanks to Afreeca for sponsoring the event here, as it certainly wouldn't be possible without them. So You guys can always check out the site. Check out Streamcraft, an event they got going on right now, if you want to stream yourself. Otherwise, I hope you guys enjoyed the stream, and I shall see you next time. Thanks for watching. Also, if you feel free to watch me just play Starcraft normally, feel free to leave a follow, and I shall see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.